Keelan
Still alive.
walks.
I'm here.
Beta.
Here.
Johnny.
I shall crush you with my pinky finger.
Ravenclaw.
Gasping for breath.
Thorn.
You swamp. I'm here.
Okay, so when we last left off, you guys grabbed the shield of the Hidden Lord, which was then in turn given to Thorn to wield. Took Lady Van Thamper and exited with a very clever plan of Walks using his racial skill to sort of get you guys out of there with Chani in the lead carriage storming past doors, and you guys just sort of bat out of held it out of the upper quarter, making it down towards the Flaming Fist headquarters. Upon arrival, you were met by Captain Zonj, kind of getting a brief overview as you guys kind of unceremoniously dumped the sort of undressed body of Duchess Van Thamper on the floor, which made him quite happy. During the course of the debriefing period, a woman stormed in wearing full plate armor, followed by a full retinue of knights. The appearance on Captain Zonj's face was one of frightened curiosity, as it seemed his superior had arrived earlier than he was notified. As of course Zod was trying to get a handle on everything in the city before everything kind of went, like fully tits up. But Commander Porter was very happy with what you guys have done. And it's sort of just left to them to kind of pick up the pieces and kind of get everything together now that the threat has sort of been neutralized. And even bringing Thavius Krieg there, she wasn't very happy with the individual or even seeing him, even though he gave off no real suspicious feelings, as his story seemed to be backed up by his faith in his god. Gifted a wagon and some horses, you, Fallister Fisk, Rhea Maltamorn, set off towards Candlekeep at Fallister's sort of wish and behest, to help deliver the infernal puzzle box that was hidden in the small lockbox in Thirstwell Van Thamper's room. Taking that, you guys first stopped in Little Calimshan at Fallister Fisk's home. There he treated you to a meal, and you guys were able to sort of wash up, take a rest, drink. Sally went full alien on everybody in the bathtub, but nobody got to see. And in the morning, you guys woke up fresh, rested, and started the 5-day journey south towards Candlekeep, passing Worm's Crossing into the countryside. It was in the countryside of this sort of idyllic farmland, sun shining, but as the days progressed, the clouds came storming in from the coastline, sort of darkening things up a little bit, the threat imminent of rainfall. And as you were passing a small little farmstead made up of about 4 homes, you guys passed another wagon. This one stacked and piled high with hay. The old farmer in the front kindly waving with a broken tooth smile. His wife sort of covered in a shawl next to him as they were leading the draft horses past you guys. As they passed and you guys continued to look around and look forward, there was a sudden loud ringing noise as a shatter spell was cast. As some of you got away just in time, you turned to see that the hay has been pushed off by makeshift racks inside the wagon as soldiers began to pile up, and the kindly old man taking to the air on large red leathery wings, smiling as his skin turned red and his hair turned this lustrous midnight black. We now pick up in the battle as the group is now gaining the upper hand, though Ravenclaw is very close to falling. Okay. That was the end of the Cambion's turn.
It was.
He made his 3 attacks. He has nothing he can do as a bonus action, so it is going to be Cyrus.
Okay, let's see, how far am I? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I'm gonna send a ray of frost at this lady right here. Gotta get rid of her before she starts healing people.
Okay, you're going to try to take out their priest. Go ahead and make an attack. A 13 just misses as you sort of send out, and even in her sort of kind of burnt, beat up state, as Sally was just sort of hammering her with her magic spells, she sort of managed to duck out of the way as your ray of frost shoots over.
Okay. Then I'm gonna go 5, 10, 15. Whoops. Go back. 20. Right next to Rocks and Pallister Fisk, and that ends my turn.
Okay. Beta.
How tall is this this wall over here, Mark? For chance? Am I able to
if you stand up and if you stand up and move over, you should be able to see Ravenclaw, or at least part of him, like sticking up. It's only about 4 feet. It's just kind of like a stacked, like cobblestone wall that you would kind of see in like the countrysides of like England.
Okay, so first things first. I'm gonna stand up for half my movement here. And make sure I still have that. Can I cast Healing Word and drink a health potion? Or can I only do one or the other? Okay.
Healing Word is a bonus action spell, and a potion is an action.
Okay. And I believe the potion is 1d4, right? Or 2d4?
2d4 plus 2.
Okay, then I am going to do that. I'm going to cast Healing Word at Ravenclaw, seeing as that devil thing flew over there by him and is hammering into him.
So go ahead and cast your spell first, and then we'll move to Key Limb, and you can go ahead and heal yourself with a healing potion.
Okay. Cool beans. Sneak. 1 second, what the heck is happening here? Oop, ignore that. Sorry. Wrong thing. There it is.
Okay, we'll move to Key Limb while you get your spell cast and your potion drink. Key Limb.
I will take care of the priest.
Okay. An 11 will miss. A 15 is just what you needed. As you crack her with a left uppercut, as you sort of miss with your scalpel thrust, you hear the bones in her neck just sort of crack as her head snaps backwards.
Then I will grab her by the throat, and I will say, "You have something that I need," and I will basically suck the life out.
Sounds good.
Oh god, he's doing it again.
That will be my turn.
Okay. 15, 20. The bard reappears, peeking around the corner of this stone block. He's going to use his last second level spell slot. To cast Shatter. I need Beta, Phalister, Siren, and Walks to give me Constitution saving throw. You cannot... I believe you cannot uncanny dodge this, because it has to be a melee attack. Beta and Walks, you take 16 points of thunder damage. Siren, you take 16 points as well.
Damn, I'm down.
You can't cast that anymore, so I'm going to get rid of it. That was his action.
Mark, that's not true. You can uncanny dodge any attack that you see. It doesn't have to be melee. It's any attack that you can see.
We had this conversation on the Saturday game, and then you said, I'm sorry, I was wrong. And that you couldn't, and that he should have been down.
That was evasion.
He didn't have
Uncanny
evasion.
dodge.
They're only level 5. The Saturday game's only level 5. He tried to uncanny dodge it. He didn't have evasion. And then we went through his whole spiel.
It's not the C thing. It's the if they don't roll an attack roll.
Yes.
So if you're making them make saves, that's not an attack. Yes, that's the
but she cannot uncanny dodge.
That's correct.
Just think, you can't dodge out of the way of an insult.
And I'm just going to get rid of this wagon, because after 2 shatter spells, it is fucked.
Yeah, that's what it was. Not that.
We'll just do that. Okay. Let's see. Who's close? He's going to stand up fully, and he's going to look at Sally. Sally, I need you to give me a charisma saving throw. As he looks at you and he goes, "Hey, ugly! Is that what the mask is for?"
Wait. Oh, is it?
As he is taunting you, he's going to use his last taunt of the day. So I need a charisma saving throw.
I get a plus. God, fuck me.
You have disadvantage on all ability checks, attack rolls, and saving throws until the start of the bard's next turn. That's the end of his turn. She is dead. Sally, it is your turn.
I'm going to, since he stood up, I do have disadvantage, but I'm going to...
Sally cast shield. Your words have no effect on me.
God damn it. That's bullshit! I have a plus, I'm like, okay, I can make this. And no, it's fine. I'm firebolting the son of a bitch.
With disadvantage.
Correct.
A 14 misses. It's a really good disadvantage roll, by the way. You missed him by 1.
And then I'm going to... I'm gonna drop prone and take cover here behind the wagon.
Okay, sounds good. Shawnee, it is your turn.
Just so I'm clear, I believe there are no enemies within range to me, correct?
There is this gentleman here on the wagon.
Okay.
The last guy you hit here is still being curb stomped by your ancestral guardians.
Right.
Even though he went
For some reason, I didn't see this guy here. Is this an enemy?
That's Alistair Fisk.
There's only 3 enemies left. The one right next to you is half dead, and then there's the bard that insulted you and got away, that reappeared, and then there's the cambion.
I know, I kind of wanted to go after him, but he is exactly 45 feet away from me, because Mark is smart like that. So I don't want my rage to end, so I have to attack this guy, because I always like to use my rage, and then Mark likes to make it go away. So I don't want to waste 2 rages in the same fight, so I'm going to attack him first. This guy here. With my greatsword. I don't have advantage or disadvantage. I think this is just a normal attack, and of course I'm going to suck, so I'm going to attack him again.
16 is just what you need.
Sweet. So he will take 11 points of slashing damage. And the Ancestral Guardians will slide over onto him. And I am looking at that bard as I'm trying to hack. That's why I missed my first swing, because I see the bard. I want to kill the bard. I growl at the bard. But this guy's in my way. So I am going to move to here after I chop up that one guy. Kind of moving around him.
Okay.
And I'll end my turn.
I'll chop him up for you if you want to go after the bard. I'll be attacking this guy.
22 definitely hits. Oof. Okay.
Multi-attack, second swing.
And you cut his leg out with the first one, causing him to sort of fall into the wagon. And as he sort of grabs the edge to keep his balance, you bring your sword down and just decapitate him. And he just falls limp inside the bed as his head rolls to...
It would seem the fight has moved to our cart.
In your mind, you hear a, "There's still another one. Let me have him."
I will refuse the shield, not until you learn restraint.
Okay.
And then,
Yeah, Mark, where's Ray? Ray, she's not in initiative.
Oh, son of a gun. Give me a second here. Oh, she rolled a 13. Yep, she rolled a 13. Alright, close the channel. I'll just put her after walks. Nevermore. Oh, sorry, Brad, was that the end of your turn?
yeah, that'll be the end of my turn.
Okay, Nevermore.
Nevermore's gonna fly over towards the bard. End its turn there, trying to distract him. Visibly still.
Okay.
Can he? Is he taking the help action?
Yes. That
Can
does
he?
not... He can. It... According to the imp sheet, it has to be an attack or a spell that ends his concentration. And using the help action is neither of those, so he can freely keep doing this. And then I believe Ken looked it up last time, and even if the bard moves away from Nevermore, the help action stays on him.
Good to know.
So we will not. We won't forget that for next time. That way, it makes Nevermore useful. Okay. Is he gonna? He's gonna stay by there. Or do you want him to fly away from him? Because once you do the help action, you don't got to stay by him according to that rule.
Oh, then, yeah, he'll fly away.
So you have like a free flyby because of your invisibility. Okay. Walks. I need a death saving. Okay, that's one success. Rhea sees him. 5, 10, 15, 20, and she's gonna, with her strength score, she can jump and like hurdle the fence, landing here. And she's gonna cut this guy to pieces. With advantage on the first attack. You know what? She's gonna drop her short sword, and she's gonna go two-handed with her Hell Rider longsword. Oh, for fuck's sake. I made a mistake. The 14 misses him. And here comes 13. I got too cocky and missed both. Incredible. She's going to stay there. That sucks. It is Fallister's turn. Fallister... Let's see. I didn't even have his sheet up. You know what? He's got a pretty good score. He's going to go prone, kneel down, and he's going to stabilize Siren. Siren, you are stabilized. You no longer have to make death saving throws. But you are unconscious for 2 hours until you are healed magically. He is going to stand back up for half his movement. He's going to step over Siren. 5, 10, 15, ending his turn here. Raven.
Waking up, I'm going to instantly cast a spell as icy-like feathers start to form around me. This is the Armor of Agatha spell.
Okay.
While I'm looking for the button, I do stand up for half my movement, and
Okay.
I can't see Beta in the cards again, right?
I'll say that she's sort of like hot dog bunning the rail, like she's just sort of folded over it, and the card's like fully destroyed and on the ground, so you can look over and see her. I'll say.
I'll wake her up, and as I do, I say, "Git walks up. I'll try and hold this guy off."
Okay, Beta, you are conscious with 4 hit points. Top of round 3. The Cambion is going to attack you. This time normal. Here comes his two-handed spear. 26.
He instantly takes 15 cold damage.
He will half that to 7. And you're going to take 5 points of piercing and 1 point of fire damage. Okay, he's going to attack you again. $25.
He'll take another 15 cold damage that he'll have.
That only happens once, doesn't it? Armor of Agathis on the first hit?
It happens until I am at a temporary hit points, which you're about to drain now.
How did you gain temporary? Oh, because the Armor of Agathis gives you the temporary hit points.
Yes,
How many temporary hit points did it give you? 15?
15.
Okay. So he'll take 7 again. Okay. So you take 11 points of piercing, 2 points of fire. Are you still up?
Yes, I'm at 6 now. No more temporary hit points.
Okay. Alright, he's just gonna hit you one more time. He's gonna try to knock you down.
Like trying to smush a cockroach.
17,
That hits.
12 piercing, 2 fire. Okay, and he is going to flap his wings and fly away. Flying up at an angle away. "30 feet up in the air, that's the end of his turn. Siren, you are stable. Beta.
Rubbing her head, Beta's gonna get up for half her movement. Oop, where did it? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Okay. Get up for half her movement and doesn't see the devil. Can I see the bard from here?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna do 2 things. I am going to cast Sacred Flame on the bard. Oop, if he fails. And then the bonus action, I'm going to do what Ravenclaw told me and Healing Word walks.
He fails? Oh, it's actually a 6, not a 4, but still fails.
Alright, he's going to take 8 radiant and then going to heal walks for 6.
Okay. Are you going to stay there?
And then she is going to move.
Did the bard survive that sacred flame?
He did.
Okay.
He's looking pretty beat up, but he is still alive.
And yep, and Beta is going to move right there. Because that's all the movement speed she's got left.
Okay. Keelan.
Choices. Looks like Ravenclaw's going to be fine. He's surrounded by party members, so I'm going to go after the bar.
Okay.
I'm going to dash over here, flip over the wall, coming to attack. I'm going to have to use a key point to perform my phantom flight.
What's your full movement?
With phantom footsteps, I can move 80 feet.
Gotcha. 24 hits. You hear a sharp intake of breath as you stab him from behind him, moving nearly the speed of light. But you pull out the dagger and he's still up.
Alright, that's all I can do.
Okay. It is the bard's turn. He's going to look at you, Keelim. And he's going to try to cast sleep. And he's going to cast it at 3rd level. I think you fall asleep.
Don't think just because I look old that I'm gonna.
Wait,
God damn.
He's gonna take a chance, and he's gonna move here.
wait, Keelan has 25 hit. Oh wait, never mind. I see the 30 now.
He's gonna see if Rhea's gonna hit him. 2-hand. Rhea got him.
Come on, Rhea.
Tried to be slick. She cut him.
So, like, does Keelan, like, fall forward, backward, or is he just asleep on his feet?
He's standing asleep, kind of like just slumped, standing, like his head's lolled back and his mouth is open. He doesn't fall prone, but he's just, he is asleep.
I was just gonna say I can imagine him just standing there. I suddenly roll back.
Sally.
His eyes aren't even closed. You just hear him snoring.
Some of the blood, some of the blood that Rhea sent in the air kind of lands in your open mouth.
and he just licks it up.
Sally?
Sally's gonna stand up for half her movement.
You have no more disadvantage, so you can take that token off.
I see the Cambion flying away. I cannot reach her. So I'm just gonna... I'm gonna stay where I'm at. And I'm going to prepare a Ray of Frost if the Cambion flies back and is within 60 feet.
You have no spells that are 90 feet?
No.
Wow. That's a short-range sorcerer.
Oh, wait, I have Firebolt.
Yeah, I mean, you can step forward 15 feet and firebolt it. But, I mean, it is a Cambion. It's a devil, and you're going to firebolt it? Probably not going to be effective.
Don't worry, Firebolt... Firebolt's a range of... Oh, wait.
No, it's a devil, and you're going to firebolt it. And that's... just putting it out there.
Oh, you're right,
Might not work.
Let him try and be useful.
I think he could try, yeah.
I'm gonna wait till if it flies back and it's within 60 feet of me to cast Ray of Frost.
Okay, Johnny.
Since all of the things that are within range of me are now dead, and Chani has the great sword range as her only attack, I am going to dash forward 40 feet, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 feet, and I am going to hurl my fucking great sword at the Cambion.
Give me an athletics check with advantage due to your rage.
I am raging and pissed off that people that can throw far away attacks have killed everything I can get to. But yeah, I'm gonna advantage athletics check 17. I don't care how far it goes. I just hurl my great sword in the direction of the Cambion.
Like you're competing at the Highland Games, you run forward using your momentum, throw your arms back behind your head, and just whoosh, let it fly, and you just hear this helicopter propeller, whoosh, 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 whoosh. And you're looking at it, and it's going, and going, and going,
come on!
And then it gets to here, and then it starts losing altitude, and then it sticks into the ground point first. But that was
Yep,
throw.
I hurled that bitch. I have to like double move to get to it now.
Now come back.
But that ends my turn. I can't do anything else, so my rage will subside because unless I take damage before my next turn.
Sally. Or not Sally. Thorn, I apologize.
Come on, cast Fireball with your shield.
I am. He's 30 feet up, which means it's not even going to hit the ground or the crops. I'm going to point the shield at him, and it's going to like shoot that devil down. Shield.
Yes. You watch as like the small ball of red, like marble size at the mouth, starts to turn and then just expand into this like 5 foot like wide diameter fireball that just launches like a comet off the front of your shield. And the Cambion turns around and just goes, "Oh fuck!" Go ahead and roll the damage, as the Cambion is going to try to get away from there.
Is that just a level 3 base fire?
Yep, just a level 3 base fireball, so I think it's 8d6, and then here comes it's a dexterity saving throw, I believe.
With the super high.
He has to roll pretty high on this to actually avoid it, because the DC is stupid. Nope. So he's going to take 14 points of fire damage.
Oh, Sally will take note of that.
And he's sort of still flying away, and he looks back. "I'll remember that!" And he's just going to keep going, and you sort of hear him cursing. "You can't find good help anywhere."
I don't think I can catch him or anything else, so that'll be my turn.
Okay. Never.
There were more double moves. Just trying to trail. Because of the fireball, though, it's not getting too close.
Okay. What?
First, ow! And he's gonna get up onto his feet for half his movement. And looking around, seeing that flying bastard has escaped. Gonna move 5, 10, 15 forward. Please tell me this is enough distance. Please tell me there's enough. I did not want to do that. Almost moved him. Damn! Nope. Still too far.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just going to lean on the wall and just give himself a moment to breathe. That's all I can do.
Rhea is going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Double moving to there. Fallister, 5, 10, 15. Alright, what am I doing? I'm just going to go 5, 10, 15, 20. Seeing how far he is, he's just going to ready an action to shoot his hand crossbow at anything that gets close. Ravenclaw, I need a death saving throw, please. Okay, that's one failure. Top of round 4. Cambion is going to fly 60 feet, but he's going to land in the corn. Ravenclaw and Rhea first begin to see this sort of swirling fire vortex begin to move around, and then there's a flash as all the corn and grain sort of get pushed aside, leaving this sort of burning, shallow crater in the ground. The Cambion has disappeared.
Mark, you mean Nevermore?
What did I say?
You said Ravenclaw.
Yes, Nevermore. Siren is stable. Beta.
Raven is still on the ground, right?
Yes, Ravenclaw's prone on the ground after being stabbed multiple times again.
Okay, so he doesn't look like he's like up. So she's gonna move up there. Actually, you know what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait. Hold on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay. I'm going to cast Mass Healing Word
Okay.
at 3rd level.
Okay.
So everybody within 60 feet?
6 people within 60 feet. So it's going to be Raven, Walks, Cyrune, Chani, Keelim, and myself, I believe. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll get
Alright.
6 HP.
With the enemies still left on the field, all dead, we are out of initiative because nobody's making death saving throws.
Come on.
Well, at least they left us a wagon after destroying ours.
Is that corn still on fire?
It's not so much on fire as it is like smoldering, as if something extremely hot flashed. And if you take the time to walk up next to Rhea as she's looking at it, you can almost see where like the stalks were sort of sliced cleanly by the flame, as if like a perfect round like crop circle of fire is sort of surrounding this kind of shallow crater where the creature was.
Everybody all right? Sound off?
Walks, you're still pale as hell.
As I move forward to get my sword, I say, I'm fine, but Thorn, we're gonna have to have words about that shield of yours.
Yes, the shield needs to learn restraint.
Yeah,
You kind of hear in your
that
mind,
thing does massive damage. I mean, holy sh!
I belong to you now. We're together in this, you and I.
Learn? You mean that thing has a mind of its own?
Indeed, it does.
Very interesting.
That's weird.
Guys begin to see what look to be extremely scared farmers, like peeking out of their doors and windows. Now that the melee is sort of over,
Go about
It
your
looks-
business. Jedi
It looks
business.
like our cart is ruined, and we're probably gonna have to take the cart of the attackers.
Yep, I just said that.
So yeah, I'll start taking whatever supplies we had on our cart, picking them off the ground, and I'll start loading them. She's trying to keep her temper calm after her rage has subsided, so putting herself to work will keep her from being angry.
Okay, do I see Keelam still standing there snoring?
you do actually. He's still asleep, standing in place.
Okay, I'm going to first shift back into my normal state as I'm walking over to Keelam. No, lightly shake him before, like, hello, Sleeping Beauty, wake up, you idiot! Slap over the head.
Can't put me to sleep.
Fallister walks over to you, Siren, as you ask the question, and she's like, no, she points to Rhea. She is a Hell Rider. Those, I believe, were the Knights of the Shield. The ones I told you about that were hunting for the Shield of the Hidden Lord.
And they are working with devils.
Maybe. All I know is that they are hunting for that shield, and they want it back desperately. From my investigations in Baldur's Gate, I found that the Van Dampers had stolen the shield. But to what end? We were not sure. But my mistress, Elvira, believes that they were going to try to use the power within the shield to do what was done to El Terrell to Baldur's Gate. You've seen some of the power it possesses. It is not something, and he kind of looks to Thorn, not something that should be wielded lightly.
I'm gonna have Nevermore keep a watchful eye on all of us in case anyone's approaching from now on. No more ambushes.
And the sort of smell begins to hit you guys now, that sort of deep, cool, earthy smell hits your nostrils, and you start to feel the first pitter-patters of scattered rain. And as the storm begins to move in.
Well,
This isn't and the wagon they had wasn't a covered wagon, was it? It was just a...
Right.
You look at the wagon, and it wasn't covered. The hay that was piled on seemed to be like, a fake beard. And you look at the sides, and you see there's like hinged walls with like small like hooks in it that were used to hold the hay and stack it up. And then as soon as they attack, they sort of push the walls to the side, scattering all the hay, and just started going to town on you guys.
Could I check? I want to search this bar for everything he's got.
Give me an investigation check.
And I will search the cleric and see if she have any healing implements.
Can I search with Keelam as well? Because I'm kind of interested in what this one has.
Yeah, go ahead. Roll with advantage, Keelan.
I'm gonna search the guards that Johnny chopped down.
Mark, do you want an investigation check as well for the cleric?
Yes, for the cleric. Keelim, you go through his belongings. You see strapped to his back is a very nice-looking lute. He has a short sword, sort of still scabbard, that he wasn't using as he was sort of implementing himself into the more magical range, letting the more larger individuals kind of go. His nice fluffy shirt under his breastplate is just soaked in blood and cut to ribbons. He has about 10 gold in a coin pouch strapped to his back, but other than that, he doesn't have much. You do see that he has a component pouch for spells on his belt, but other than that, he looked like he just came prepared to do battle, and that's all he really brought.
Well, I will hand the loot to Walks, and I will pocket the 10 gold pieces.
You take the loot, and it's very, very well made. Although it did suffer some scratches as it was strapped to his back and he sort of got thrown around a bit. But you sort of string a note and it is perfectly in tune.
At least he kept it well maintained. Too bad it's gone to better hands.
Sally, you search the priest-like character and you see that she is wearing what looks to be a breastplate over these kind of black, red, and white vestments. Curiously, you sort of unstrap the breastplate and lift it up, and there on the chest is a symbol of a black shield.
I will grab that. Pocket that.
You're gonna leave her naked and take her vestments.
I'm taking the I thought it was a medallion.
No, it's not a medallion. It's sewn like very prominently on where most vestments would show the symbol of the person they worship, and you see there is clearly a shield, pure black, set on like a field of white and red.
Nothing else, like no, they have any like healing potions or anything like that.
Next to her is a maul. You see 2 pouches on her person. None of them have gold. You look and you see some sort of religious implements. There are small cubed chunks of what you smell to be incense, and small vials of water that look like some sort of holy water. And another pouch of actual spell components that you're sort of used to seeing. And one potion of healing.
I will take the potion. I will take everything, and yes, I will start stripping her naked.
Let's watch it. Sally is stripping the priest naked of her vestments.
And then I will hand all the spell components, and the incense and everything that to our cleric, which is Beta, and I will keep the health potion as well.
Okay.
I was searching
After
the guards,
a
but I
while-
think I rolled low.
6. You see that their armor that they were wearing is ripped and torn to absolute shreds. The makeshift signs of both Thorn and Shawnee's handiwork just apparent all over their body. They do have some nice long swords and short swords that are still in pretty good shape. It looks like they kept really good care of their weapons. And I'll say between the 4 of them, you find a total of 13 gold pieces, 13 silver pieces, and 8 copper pieces.
I was expecting another 13.
After a while, as you guys sort of took your rest, Fallister didn't take any damage at all in that fight. Sort of comes back holding the 2 riding horses by the reins as he sort of went out looking for them as they sort of bolted off during the fight. So Walks, you have your riding horse back, and so does Fallister as you guys begin to climb back into the wagon. The rain now is just sort of, it's really annoying.
Is it like Florida rain?
It's starting to come down in sheets. Like it's coastal rain. It starts off nice and then it just starts dumping on you. And it's just ripping through. You guys are using like blankets and cloaks to kind of keep yourself dry as you guys continue to move down the road. Nightfall begins to set in and it's just getting a little too dark to actually venture forward. You guys find a nice copse of trees that offers a respite from the rain, pulling off onto the road. You find that people have camped here before. You see that there's an old fire pit set up with stones. Going through to gather up wood for fire, taking some of the rations that you guys were given. You guys sort of warm up by the fire, protected mostly from the rain, and kind of just settle in for the night. What do you guys want to do?
I go sulk in a corner.
Are you okay, Lady Sarun?
No. Honestly, I should have gotten supplies before we left. I didn't expect us to get.
Are we? So we're making camp, and we have a little campfire and such. Is that what we're doing? Like a
yes, you guys are underneath like a copse of trees. You guys are somewhat dry. The fire is definitely helping as the leaves are sort of sending most of the drip drops away. I mean, there's a couple. You guys do have tents of canvas that do help out keep a lot of the moisture out. But the fire does feel nice,
So-
especially after sitting in the rain for like 5 hours, moving down the road until it just got too dark because of the overhead storms.
I know that we've all had a rough day, and we've seen things that perhaps unnerve us a bit, devils and such, impaling our friends with spears and flying off on bat-like wings. Cursed items, perhaps, burning our allies when we don't expect it to. Things of the nature, things like that. Even our friends kind of doing things that we may not have witnessed before. But I find that in my experience at times like this, we should gather close and listen to stories. Tell stories of things that we've experienced and share a bit of ourselves with each other. And if you don't all like to, I would love to share a story with you about something that happened to me on my way to Baldur's Gate.
Ooh.
And I'll wait to see if people are interested. If they're not interested, then Johnny will shut up and go to her tent. But
I would like to hear of such stories from the great and powerful Johnny.
Ballister grabs a large sort of iron kettle and kind of sets a grate down as he fills it with the water from the water barrel on the wagon, and just kind of pulls some coals over, and he starts heating up water and kind of rubs his hands together. He's like, I do enjoy a good story.
That would be lovely, Johnny. In fact, if you want, I could give a musical accompaniment with my own instrument.
Well, that'll make the story that much better. I've never had the pleasure of Bard contributing to it, but if you could strike up a tune of a little bit of mystery.
Yes. Let me just.
Vader's gonna scoot closer to Johnny in the fire and be like, "Yes."
Something in a minor.
And as for the loot, I'll set it aside. Like, this is good, but you can't go wrong with the classical. And I'll take out my own personal lyre, and I'll strum it, tune it, and nod to Johnny.
So, as is customary where I come from in the Goliath barbaric tribes far to the east of Baldur's Gate, when you come of age, you're supposed to wrestle an animal into submission that is either your size or larger. That is the requirement, and then you're supposed to bring that animal with you back to your village to prove that you have ascended into adulthood. Unfortunately, I came from a family that wasn't part of the ruling class of my tribe, so I didn't have to prove myself in this feat in order to gain rank in the tribe, for I didn't have rank at all. But I took it upon myself, after events drove me from my village, to put myself through this trial, so that I knew that I would be ready for the challenges ahead. So, with nothing but my bare hands, I stalked the woods, and I start to tell this story about how I tracked something that had the largest prints that I could find, and it turned out to be a bear. And then I pull out the bear claw necklace that I have around my neck, and make comments about how it's very difficult to find some animal that is my size or larger, as I kind of, broaden my shoulders and puff out my chest, because I'm pretty freaking big already, as only a bear would do. And I stalked this bear for 6 days, and finally found it underneath a tree. And I climbed up the tree, sneaking around behind it so it didn't see me, and I leapt onto it from the tree. And a great wrestling match occurred, and finally I thought that I was going to meet my end, as I could smell its breath in my face and feel its teeth at my neck. But I managed to pin it to the ground, and with my great large hands I was able to choke the bear unconscious. And I enjoyed the bear meat all the way to Baldur's Gate. So I tell that story.
Very impressive. Can you
Remind me
show us the size again compared to you?
So I pull out the bear claw necklace again within my shirt, and show that if the claws are any indication, and the claws are a good 3 inches long at a minimum, the smallest ones, some reaching almost 4 inches. It was a full-grown female bear. And it had a large scar along its right eye, but now it's here in my belly, Tap my belly. It has become a part of me. I like to believe that the bear has given me its strength as I pass the test of my people, and that strength will help all of you.
Well, I hope so. If anything, that today shows we could sure use the extra help in the strength department.
So Chani hopes that by sharing this story, and she tried to tell it in the way that her people tell stories. All of their history is, and none of it is written down. So she tries to embellish where she can. She's not the most intelligent person, but she knows how to tell a good story. And when she's done, she takes a big sip of her water skin and sits back, waiting to see if anybody else wants to share something about their past.
There's a sort of short lull, and you hear Rhea's voice, sort of kind of quiet, a little bit detached, and you sort of all kind of look over to, and you see that she's holding a very small, like handmade doll in one of her hands, and she's sort of caressing the head of it slowly. And she just begins to say, "It was over a century past that the great troubles began. Fiends roamed the lands to the north and west of El Terrell, despoiling fields, slaughtering livestock, razing homes, people dragged off to terrible, unknown fates. Terror," she looked up, "gripping the hearts of all. The city's cavalry, though," and she kind of, her eyes brightened just a little bit, "rode across the land, striking down fiends whenever they found them, suffering fearful losses. But it was never enough. For every fiend they destroyed, it seemed as though two more appeared somewhere else. At that time, the ruler of El Terrell, High Rider, he asked the people to pray to the gods for aid. To everyone's astonishment, an angel came. The next day, her name was Zeriel, which means companion of light in High Celestial. And the prayers of El Terrell had been heard, and help finally came. Zeriel located the gate through which the fiends were entering our world, on the fields of the dead west of the city, and she declared that she would lead the cavalry into Avernus, destroying the infernal hosts, striking a great blow against the darkness. The High Rider sent out all the riders of El Terrell, numbering in the thousands, with Zeriel at their head, riding on a golden mastodon. With a great cry, Zeriel and the army charged through the gate, and the legions of Avernus trembled. They buckled, but they didn't crumble. Zeriel lost, and the remnants of her army returned to El Terrell, overcome with the grief that the glorious general was gone, but confident that the lords of the Nine Hells would think twice before ever threatening us again. There were celebrations of honor for the valiant knights of the cavalry who became known as the Hell Riders, and you see, like, she kind of grabs onto her sword from that day on. And then she, like, tears start to flow down her eyes as, like, her lip begins to tremble. And now they're all gone. And I'm nothing but a fugitive. And she kind of just tucks her head into her knees and kind of wraps herself with her arms and just begins to silently shudder. Fallister kind of walks over with a cup of tea and just begins to sort of pat her on the back, trying to comfort her. And you hear her kind of laugh a little bit. I didn't mean to bring the mood down. And she kind of smiles. It's a story everyone should know. That we were brave. That we were good.
Elim will take a sip of his tea and he goes, I once wished to join the Hell Riders, but my fortunes wouldn't permit it. I have read many of your stories and know that I have great respect for the Hell Riders. And he kind of like gives a toast to her and he goes, every one of them.
And she smiles through glistening eyes. There's a profound sadness, Keelim, as you kind of look at her. And you kind of see, like, she is shattered, like, inside. Like, everything she knew was gone. The person that she trusted the most might be the reason why her home is gone.
Keelim feels nothing of that. He sees the same thing day in and day out. He goes back to his tea.
Lox will probably like lower his lyre bit. And I can assure you, Lady Rhea, stories of your trope has spread far and wide. When I was learning how to do some of your stories were one of the first I tried to remember. Granted, I got a few lines wrong. But trust me, a lot of people still look up to those stories as hope. So know that your deeds are still being told.
And she just kind of lays her head on her knees, just kind of staring at the flames for anybody else?
There isn't much to say on my end. Just that one day I heard the call of the Raven Queen. And I chose to listen to her words and take up this mantle. My job is to travel around and ensure there is a balance. If someone is to die and I don't revive them, their time was up. But dead should not be roaming about. So I just travel around, keeping the balance.
All these stories are really inspiring. It's kind of silly, actually. Well, let's say I used to be a very rebellious teenager as a kid, and it basically got me sent to one of my family friends, and so I took up the life of a sailor, and basically all we do is really we're kind of like a merchant, carrying and stuff, but I just ended up in Baldur's Gate, and that's it, I guess. It's pretty bland.
And now you're here. Alistair kind of speaks up. It's a weird twist of
Johnny
fate,
actually stops after a second after Siren says, "It's not much." And she says, "Oh, but little sister, you braved the oceans. I myself have never been on an ocean. I can't even imagine how ferocious the waves would toss and turn your boat, and you might get flung off and drown. The fear that you had to overcome to be on the water itself is something to be proud of."
Yeah, surviving the ocean is no small task, considering how large it is.
I don't know, I guess the unknown kind of brings me comfort.
Well, most people are afraid of what they don't know. If it brings you comfort, then you're braver than most. Take solace from that. It sounds like all of us here are heroes in one way or another. Deeds both great and small.
Beta kind of shrugs.
Except for maybe Sally over there. And I laugh. Good-naturedly, I'm just kind of picking on Sally a little bit because she hasn't said anything. And she's, look at there, she's being all emo over there in the corner. So I just kind of chuckle at Sally and kind of point her out, trying to include her in the humor that's happening around the fire. She's being a grumpy
Ballister kind of picks up on what you're saying, Johnny, and he's like, yes, you do cut an enigmatic figure, Lady Sally.
I do what?
You do cut an enigmatic figure. Care to share? Where are you from, Baldur's Gate originally? I mean, rumors do abound.
And what rumors have you heard, Ballister?
I lean in really close because I can't wait to hear the rumors about Sally.
An incident in your home? I remember the guards speaking about it, sort of chuckling to themselves.
And Damford guards, mind you.
Yes, but people do speak honestly when they're not on the spot. At least, in my line of work, I've come to rely on that. If you're not up for sharing, it's okay.
A rumor is just a rumor. I have nothing
Precisely.
to share.
It's not my place to spread such things. I've just heard some, well, fantastically horrific things. But you're right. They were the Venthampers. They weren't exactly people I would count on to be moral authorities. You should come closer to the fire. Warm up a bit.
I will.
Yes, join us, little sister.
I will approach the fire.
I will hand her a cup of tea if she wants it, since we're all sitting around the fire drinking hot tea.
We should only be another full day's out. We should be able to arrive by dusk tomorrow if everything remains as it is. Well, minus the rain. Hopefully that stops, but I have a feeling we won't be seeing those ruffians we encountered earlier again for quite some time. Investigating that small little hole in the ground, I assume whatever that creature was shifted to another plane. At least that's my experience, seeing that sort of crater in the ground, at least when my mistress does so.
Your mistress traverses the plains.
She is quite knowledgeable, not only in magic, but also in her studies of the Nine Hells. It was her that sent me to Baldur's Gate.
Well, rest assured, everyone, I have Nevermore keeping a close eye on us from up above. I must say, I am definitely more interested in meeting your mistress now.
Yes,
She is a lovely woman.
and so am I.
Candlekeep itself is a miraculous place.
Mark, are we in?
What?
Are we in the Cloakwood?
You guys are more like down here in like a copse of trees.
I just was trying to.
You guys only have like. You guys only have like a 60-mile journey to borrow. So. No, you're probably further down, but.
Oh no, I was just trying to get an idea. Sorry to interrupt.
Problem. It is a
Well,
place.
Johnny I try to stifle a great big yawn, but she's feeling kind of sleepy, and if Ravenclaw is sure that his bird has watch, then Chani's going to excuse herself and go to bed.
I think maybe we should all follow Chani's example and try to get some rest, yes?
I will be willing to take first take along with Ravenclaw. I mean, Nevermore. So it's good to have an extra set of eyes.
Don't freak out if you can't see him. He's still invisible, but he's watching closely.
Thorn enters rest mode. I love it. He gets like I don't know. I'm thinking of what's his name, Zero from Borderlands, where he has like the mask that has different icons that play on the front of his face. You have like Z's.
It's just like when your computer goes to sleep, the little power button is kind of gets brighter
awesome.
and then dimmer and then brighter and dimmer. Because if you remember, Thorn never really sleeps. He's just kind of semi-conscious.
Yeah, he's kind of like an elf. Sort of, but not at all. Just his sleep mode. Well, Chani sleeps and also snores. You're welcome. She's pretty large. She sounds like a bear herself when she sleeps.
Ballister's gonna wake up in the middle of the night and try to move you onto your side. God sakes,
that does help. That does help. But you might need like a 2x4 to move me over onto my side.
I knew I should have brought my breastplate strips.
Well, if we're doing watches, I'll gladly take a second or third, depending on whichever.
You guys get your watches all set up. Morning comes. It's a little bit chilly. There's fog laying low along the land. But the fire has been kept going. It is warm, and the smell of fried potatoes, bacon, and day-old, or like not like fresh like flatbread that Ballister's kind of cooking on one of the stones. Just begins to pull you guys out of your dreams. You guys do get a long rest. You guys should have everything back. You guys warm yourselves to a kettle of hot coffee, bitter but very tasty with the breakfast. You guys begin to pack everything up, load back into the wagon. Thankfully, the rain has subsided. You guys pass a couple sort of merchant caravans heading north towards Baldur's Gate. These ones sort of protected by armed guards, about like 4 or 5 trains long, as they kind of make past and they kind of stop. Looking to buy any wares for the road?
Of potions.
Sadly, yeah.
I was just gonna say, got any health potions?
Sadly, we do not carry any sort of alchemical potions, but we do have a lot of general merchandise, dried rations, extra things like that.
Think you'd be okay to browse a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, so they have everything that you would find pretty much in the player's handbook, and even one of the trains does contain weapons.
Oh, so this is a wagon train, okay.
Yeah, so it's a wagon train of merchant caravans, and you can kind of see them. They're all sort of like lavishly dressed, and they kind of have like fluffy shoulders on their sleeves and like vests. Everything's bright colors, and they have these hats with these like feathered plumes, and they have a bunch of like surly-looking guards kind of walking. They do have armor. If you're looking,
I do want to go check out their weapons because I was in the market for something that might be better for ranged attacks than a dagger. So I asked if they have javelins, throwing axes, things like that.
We do have a wide variety, and he kind of moves to the back, and he kind of pulls onto a cord, and you watch as like a circus wagon, the side of it begins to like, come down, and like you're walking into Blade's closet, and there's just cords and everything just sort of pinned, not moving. We also have a series of long and short bows, depending on your taste. If you would like something with a bit more range.
I prefer to use my and I kind of just smack my biceps. So I pulled down one of the javelins and just kind of test its heft and its weight. And then
very nicely balanced, like nothing special, nothing that you look at it that would say like master crafted. But as weapons go, yeah, this could kill somebody.
Yep. So I say I'll take 2. And yeah, I'd like to buy 2 javelins and a hand axe.
The third wagon in the train there, they sell a whole variety of clothing, if you wish. The last one in the back, that is armor smith Sven. He can help you out with any sort of armor that you may need.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if they sell any dresses that might suit me.
Oh yes, right this way, lady. And he kind of leads you towards the middle train, and he takes you to the other side, and he begins to pull the rope, and you hear the come down, and you see just racks and racks of dresses. Nothing as stylish as like the dress that you have custom made that you're wearing with the flames and stuff on it, but there's a lot of like very passable, nice looking dresses. There's even some that's like crushed velvet and all that kind of stuff that you see. Long flowing silk gowns with like a deep V cut in that would go into like the navel, like any sort of dress that you can imagine. They kind of have.
Yeah, I'm looking around because again, this is my last dress, and I've been wearing it for the past few days. So I'm gonna look at that navel, that with the deep V navel cut one. That one.
They have a couple colors. They have one that is a deep, like burgundy purple. Another one that is sort of like a very lustrous, like emerald green. And then one that is a very, very deep, like ruby red.
I will grab the ruby red one.
A very good eye, lady.
I would prefer. Is there a room where I can see if it fits?
We can certainly make one. And he sort of claps his hand. Boys, set up the tent. And then you see a couple of guys begin to like put up a large, like sort of, like 8x8 tent, with like closing flaps. And after like 5 minutes of them like click, 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 this thing is up. Like this is a practiced art.
So these guys are Amish, and it also makes me think of the traveling troupe in the Name of the Wind.
Yeah, I mean they're just like a traveling sort of caravan, and you can imagine that they do stop at a lot of small towns on the way, setting up their wagons as their shops, setting up all these tents for other wares that they have stored inside. Like they're very well oiled.
I will take the ruby dress, and I will also look around for something casual, as I am out and about, and usually something this fancy that can go out in outerwear. So I'll grab the ruby dress. I'll grab just a casual, another dark dress, and I will, and a third one.
You see, like, the casual dress they have is like this long, sort of flowing, almost sundress that goes all the way down to your feet, with sleeves that go down to about the wrist and kind of flare out. It is a very dark burgundy color, and he's like, and if you buy this, it even comes with this hat. And he sort of pulls out this like large, flimsy, long-billed like sun hat that you would see somebody gardening in.
I
would be perfect for you, madam.
will take the dress, the hat, and the V dress, and one. I think one more. Something. Do you have something that that can be easily? That's not restricting. You know that I can. As you see, I'm adventuring with some with my compatriots that will help with movement in the legs.
Sort of going off your idea, he walks over to one of the smaller cabinets inside the larger sort of clothing case, and he pulls out a sort of two-piece kind of dress arrangement. A long flowing skirt that does allow for a lot of movement, and it's very light, and a sort of matching second top of a different color that accents it very well. He's like, is this something perhaps you were looking for, or were you looking more for a lady's riding pants and boots?
Ladies' riding pants and boots, if you would.
Okay. And he pulls out like nice leather pants with high cut, like knee height, like riding boots. He gives you like a white shirt that comes with jacket and like gloves, and he's like, how is this suffice to the lady's taste?
Very. I would just wish to try them on, make sure everything fits.
You try everything on. The little places that you sort of complained about, like this is a little too tight here, they sort of alter, like right on the spot as soon as you bring it out and fix it exactly the way.
Okay. Do they also have? Well, never mind. So, do you take coin, or do you also open for trade?
We do barter, but do you prefer coin?
I will.
For the 3 outfits, madam, it would be 45 gold pieces.
If they are open to barter, I will offer them my signet ring, and I will pull out my scroll of pedigree. And say, this now belongs to you. Do it with what you wish. And I will even sign it.
He sort of reads it. Give us but 1 moment, please. And he kind of moves over to the second one. And he's speaking to someone, and you watch as he's sort of running his fingers over and reading it. And then he sort of pulls out a small vial, and he kind of dips in a brush, and he begins to sort of wipe along some of the things.
Oh, he's making sure it's real?
That, and when he brings it back, you look, and everywhere in the note of pedigree that had your name in it, it is all now gone, and it has his name in it.
Yep, I sign everything over to him, and I will even give him my signet ring.
This will do us quite well into getting into other places in towns where our kind is not welcome. I'll say this with the ring, and another 5 gold, and you have yourself a deal.
I will shake his hand.
sort of shakes your hand. He kind of neatly wraps up all your dresses and this sort of nice decorative paper, put it in a bow, and he kind of hands you all three. While your friends are still looking around, feel free to change into your new clothes here. The tent is here for your use. And he kind of walks around and he's helping Siren pick out the armor and going through and oh, that looks wonderful on you, dear. And just kind of going through and just kind of laying it on thick as he's just kind of helping everybody out, loving the business and glad that he asked if you guys know
Does he have any spell casting like items?
Are you thinking about, say, like components,
any silvered items in any of the cards?
We do have a select quantity of weapons that we get specially made in case we do run across people that require such things. But I will say that the price is much higher for said select items. Would you still wish to peruse?
Yes, just a silver dagger.
Silver dagger, yes. Follow me. And he kind of takes you back towards the weapon wagon, and not taking you to the right or left side, he moves to the back. Takes out a set of keys, and he begins to unlock a set of locks, kind of hidden behind a wooden panel that blends in. And after pulling on a chain, you watch as this one begins to lift up like a carny booth. And there inside, you see a couple items. There are some silvered items, and you see a very strange, almost blackish sort of longsword. As the sunlight bursts through the clouds and it kind of glitters across of it, you could swear that you see hints of purple going across.
What's that there? That blade?
I see the mister has a good eye. And he says, this is something that we picked up last when we were in Neverwinter. Can't seem to get rid of it, though, as the price is quite hefty, and it kind of plays it in. But this is an adamantine sword, forged in the Dwarven Keeps in Neverwinter. Enchanted, as you see here, and you can see that there's some runes on the pommel for the extra damage.
Interesting. How much is that blade going, and how much are your silver daggers?
That blade, the asking price is 1,300 gold pieces. Now, the daggers themselves, if you wish just to buy one that is alloyed with the silver, that maybe, I'll say, 110 gold pieces. And he sort of grabs it, and he kind of thrusts it into your hand while you're thinking. Feel the balance, the comfort, the weight. You can hold it by the tip of the blade, and it still weighs the same as if you held it by the handle. Master craftsmanship. Walking up behind you is Rhea. And she just immediately grabs one of the short swords. Hooked to look like a sort of... It has a sort of machete look to it, with like a large, like bellied front. It's a wicked looking blade, and you can see the silver glinting off of it. She's like, I'll give you 100 gold pieces and this sword, and she pulls out her short sword. That is a deal, my lady. And he sort of takes the blade, looks at it, sees that it's in pretty good shape, that you took care of it, takes the coin from her. Now, Rhea has a silvered longsword and short sword.
Okay. I will give
Dylan?
you said 110 for the silver dagger?
110, yes.
And Ravenclaw will kind of start fumbling with the funds he got from, I already forgot the captain lady's name. And I'll hand over 110.
Ah, thank you. And you see him sort of smile wide. He didn't even have to barter the price on that. He's so happy.
Yeah, there's a reason. Didn't need to. What else am I gonna buy? I'll walk away with the silver dagger and I'll try to just put it on my belt pouch.
Sally, you cut a very smart figure in your riding clothes. Like, you kind of have the loose, fluffy leggings that go up to the knee before they tuck into the riding boots. So you look like you're almost about to go on like a fox hunt. Like, kind of what Angelina Jolie was wearing in the riding scene in her mansion in Tomb Raider. It's kind of like the outfit that you're kind of rocking. And it's very smart, it's very comfortable, you can move very easily in it.
Okay, sweet. And I will make my way back to our wagon, just ready to go, with my dresses and everything like that.
I'll probably get off the horse, move over to the weapons cart, and like after seeing Ravenclaw walk by, just how many other silvered items do you have exactly?
Not many. They are quite expensive for us to sort of commission to resale. Is there anything in particular you were looking for? And he kind of shows you an assortment of things. He has some short swords left, a couple of them. Some of them with a lot of like different decorative handles and pummels. Like some with like deep bellied or like flaring out to like leaf tips onto the sword. You can see a couple elvish made kind of like long swords along the back. You see that one long sword with the purple tinge like sitting up there, and as you kind of look at it, like the purple lights glitter on the black metal like stars as the light shines through it. It is a beautiful sword. And you kind of look around. Is there anything in particular you're looking for, sir?
Well, not sure about some of my colleagues here, but I myself am more of a rapier blade user, as you can tell. And I'll kind of like show on the side my old rapier.
I do have something similar. Give me 1 second here. And he kind of moves over to the back and he sticks his key into another lock and he pulls it out. And he lifts out a very slim sort of rapier. And it has this large sort of ornamented basket hilt that, while yours kind of has kind of like that Robin Hood sort of like metal cup that covers your hand to protect you, this one is like incredibly weaved, and you can sort of look and catch symbols of like star constellations in it. And he's like, these very similar to the blade you see there, though much lighter. It is made of a speed type metal referred to as the mithril. Have you heard of this yet?
Mithril? That's such a rare material.
Feel. And he sort of hands it to you. And you grab it in your hand, and you were expecting weight, so you were sort of like allowing your hand to drop with it. But you grab it and sort of pushing up because you thought it would be heavy, it like just lifts up. And you move it around in your hand, and this thing must weigh 1 pound.
So I'll probably be doing like the usual like parry, thrust, and some of the other moves I know.
Yes, very good. You were born to wield this sword. And for the price of only 1,100 gold pieces will it be yours.
1,100?
Feel the weight. Look upon the pommeled edge, and you can see here, not sort of dwarvish runes, but you see these very sort of intricate, written, elvish words. These two enchanted, along with the metal, makes this a very fast, dangerous weapon.
It does feel nice. It feels right, too, but... Oh, that's kind of hurting the bag.
As I say, you were born to have these swords, sir.
So 11.
Does your heart not jump at its touch? Like a lady is? And he kind of leans in. He's like, feel the weight. The contours. It is good, no?
You do drive a bargain.
I would not be good at my job if I did not.
Of course. But, see, 1,100 gold. That's actually quite a lot. Crap. It's very rich for my blood, unfortunately. I don't even know if I am carrying that.
And he sort of takes the sword back, and he's like, shush now, darling, it was not you. It was not you. Puts it back, and he sort of covers it up.
It is a beauty, though.
It was a much longer blade, but because of the metal used to make it so light, the balance was incredible. He sort of pulls off a much shorter blade rapier, something that you're more used to, and he's like, this one here is standard steel alloyed with silver. If this is more to your pricing.
How much is this one, good sir?
This one with the silver alloy will cost you 140 gold pieces.
Okay. Might have that. Tell you what, I do have a certain dress too that I have come across lately. I have no use for it, but it's very well made.
You sort of pull it out and he looks at it. He's like, it is very well made, but there are scorch marks and blood all over it.
Yes, unfortunately, while during the transport to my care, some ruffians got a hold of it, as you can tell.
Let me think on this. He's sort of looking at it, and he's sort of counting off some calculations silently. You kind of see his fingers moving, doing the mathematics. He's kind of whispering to himself. With the alterations that it would take, whoever owned this must have been a Baksam woman, huh? And he just kind of like starts talking again. He's like, with the cleaning, the resizing, the resewing of the edges, I would take off 10 gold. The price now, 130. What say you?
130. Well, I suppose that's a fair trade. Although, granted, that one rapier was beautiful, but maybe another day.
It was made for you, sir.
But I am definitely telling my other colleagues about this. Be sure to give them the same caring treatment, of course.
But of course, Iago treats everyone the same. He sort of sees you walking by, Beta, and he's like, you are lovely. Do you know what would accent your skin? We have some beautiful diamonds. We'll say.
Got any silver sword swords that I can perhaps trade this one in? Holds up her own.
He kind of takes it and he looks at it. A little dinged, a little worse for wear, but not too bad, still sturdy. And he kind of pulls a sort of slim, elvish, kind of leaf-bladed short sword. And he's like, I do have these, that is made of silver. The price on these, with the little bit of gold taken off for your trade-in. Let us see here. 120 gold pieces. Is that a bargain you wish to strike?
Okay. I can do that.
Good. The gods are kind today! And he kind of like... the caravan's fucking happy.
Probably if I'm close by, I'll kind of like put an arm around Iago. Well, of course they're with you today.
You can see
People
that
like you need to have the gold for this world.
He probably doesn't even need to go to Baldur's Gate anymore. Like, he's probably just gonna head back to Candlekeep because he made the sales. So.
Oh, so we're gonna travel with them now?
Again, sir, and he kind of looks to you. We do have some of the sort of herbs, incense used for one's magical components that you might be able to look and peruse. We have the ability to ground down gems. I know that this is something quite popular with his sorcerers, and he's just kind of like wants to make more money.
Do you
Is
have
there
a
anything
gem
in
that's worth
particular?
300 gold?
What are you looking for?
A gem worth 300 gold.
Just a singular cut gem?
Yes.
That might be a tough one, but we can look. And he kind of claps his hands. And he's like, Diego! Bring the gems! And this one guy's like running over with like a velvet box. And he kind of brings it over and sets it on a table and he opens it up. And you see that there are a lot of gems in there. Any gem in particular you're looking for? And he kind of picks up a golf ball sized like emerald. And he kind of takes out a small thing and he kind of looks at the cut and he's like, yes, this one I would price around 300 gold pieces.
I'm gonna take a look at it. Being,
Give me an intelligence check. With advantage, because you are a noble. If anything, it might be worth just a tad bit more than 300 gold.
I'll take it for 300 gold.
Ah, wonderful. And he kind of takes it.
And I'll kind of turn
Would
to the
anybody
party.
else?
This will
Anybody
be
else like
helpful.
What was that for?
Oh, it's because I also have Revivify as a warlock.
Oh, you need diamonds, not an emerald. You need diamonds worth 300 gold. So we'll say that he gives you like 5 small cut diamonds worth that same amount. Because I think Revivify is very specific.
Revivify, you need diamonds. It is a very specific type of gem. Don't pull that, Jeremy.
The schooner is a sailboat.
Nice, Jeremy. I was hoping somebody might say that besides me. Thanks.
God damn! Of course, the twins will know this shit because Because half the time when they are doing stuff like games, they have the History Channel or the Discovery Channel playing on the background, so they're absorbing all this freaking knowledge.
History
My
is
kind of
awesome.
people.
What was that, Brad?
History is awesome.
I'm not denying that, but of course, everybody to make a comment is you guys.
Well, Mark, I just bought a sack, assuming they have a sack. So that'll cost me a whopping copper piece, but I can put 30 pounds of crap in that sack. So if we find another horde, we can just throw it in my bag. I'll be like Santa Claus. I just heave that thing on my back.
Let's go, Mrs. Claus. We have a job to do.
I still have, even with 100 pounds of gear on myself, 8 more pounds of stuff I can carry before I become so.
Siren,
Rocking it.
as you walk up to him after he's done selling the diamonds to Ravenclaw, and he sort of asks, "Do you have any more silvered rapiers?" He's like, "I have this sword for you." And he kind of takes you over, and he unlocks the bottom thing, and then he pulls it out, and he pulls out that long mithril sword.
jeez. Here we go again.
Your hand, you are born for this weapon. Feel the lightness. It was made for you. 1,100 gold pieces, and it is yours.
500 gold pieces short. I think that's
How short?
500.
500.
Or a
I hand you
mithril
my gold
rapier.
pieces.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I feel honored.
How much were you
That's
short?
more then. That goes on my.
For a mithril rapier. He's jipping you.
Are you going to give him the 1,100?
That one does have silvered, right? It is silvered?
It is a magical mithril rapier. Not silvered, but it is a magical weapon. And it is of high elven make.
I'll do it. The money for it.
I didn't hear the magical part.
He described to Walks to look upon the pommel of the sword and to see the enchantment written across of it. And
Right, but I, as a player, didn't hear that part. I misheard.
And he sort of takes the gold and he's like, it was a pleasure doing business with you, madam.
Awesome.
So you have a +1 mithril rapier, and the weight of it is 1 pound. I must say it was a pleasure doing business. And in this instance, it is truly sad to be saying goodbye. He looks and he's like, yes, were there any diamonds in particular you were looking for? I would say with your skin tone, earrings would go wonderful with your mask.
I will take 2. I think. If I have enough.
Is it 2 diamond earrings?
Diamond earrings? I'll take one. How much are they?
For the earrings, that would be 100 gold pieces.
Okay.
Okay, so you have 2 diamond earrings, worth 100 gold.
Mark, as I'm wrapping up my purchase and everybody else is kind of handing him over handfuls of money as well, I want to look around and see if he seems to be like, does he have some mercenaries traveling with him that would guard his caravan, or?
Yes, you can see that he has caravan guards. They're all wearing all the same sort of outfit, like they belong to some sort of company that he's perhaps paying. These sort of black leather-covered breastplates with silver lions on them, each one having like a tall kite shield, almost like Roman-style helmet. Sort of leaves the face open with the flap that comes down over the ears, and each one carrying a spear with a short sword. And there's probably be about 12 of them.
So I'll tell him. I'll say I'm glad to see that your caravan it seems to be well protected. That you've invested in your in some mercenaries to keep you safe, because we may seem to be on a spending spree here, stocking up on weapons and arms and equipment. But it's not without purpose. We met bandits on the road here, and they were even accompanied by a creature from hell, a devil, if you'll believe it. So to warn your men to be safe on the road, as the road between here and Baldur's Gate is not without danger.
That is disconcerting. We are trying to make our way to the Worms Crossing. So,
well, like I said, that we have made it, but just keep your men close and make sure they're ready for danger at all times. Don't relax your guard.
Carla, I will make you a handout for that. I just didn't have enough time today after I cooked dinner and came here to do the rest of my prep. So I will have a handout for you made so you can see everything about it.
And I shake his hand and thank him for his fortuitous arrival on the road.
He kind of winces a little bit as he goes, "Oh, it's quite the grip you have on yourself." And he sort of shakes his hand. Is that all? Is there anything more that I, Iago, can do for you?
I look to everybody else and tell them that I'm satisfied, and I'll begin to climb up into the cart.
I was going to ask, where were they coming from?
Oh, they were coming from the south. And he kind of made mention once he was making all this money that perhaps they would return to Candlekeep. But they are coming from Candlekeep and making their way up towards, and he said they were making their way to Worms Crossing. Well, and that was the small bridge town you guys crossed over the river.
If they came from Candlekeep, I was going to ask if there was any rumors on the road.
There are not many other rumors. Minus the ones that we hear from El Turel, and also of the sort of happenings from Baldur's Gate, where it has reached. So we're thinking perhaps maybe some supplies would be welcome. There was news that the gates would be opening, so perhaps we might be able to make our fortune there, just for a bit.
Well, should you continue your way up north, I would be careful. Make your travel fast, but not too fast, alright?
But of course. So was there anything else anybody else needed, wanted to purchase?
Unless they have some magical armor, rings, or anything hidden in there somewhere.
They don't have any sort of magical or magical armors or any sort of protective jewelry. It looks like the two things that they had that were magical were the two was the rapier and the +1 adamantine sword. And then the rest of the stuff they had in that small area was just silvered weapons. There was a total of 3 silvered short swords, 1 silvered long sword, and only one rapier that I rolled, which is why I was pushing the +1 rapier on Siren, because I didn't have any silver rapiers left. So
Did somebody already buy the silver longsword?
the silver longsword is still there.
How much is the silver longsword?
Well,
Oh,
for
real, like-
the low price of 140 gold, it is yours.
How does Thorn ask for the sword? He's just like, what is the current value of said item?
Well, he saw everybody else, getting silver stuff, and so he's still trying to figure out what's like socially acceptable and things. So he's like, maybe I need one of those. Like, is this proper? Like clothes, Why do people wear clothes? Why do people need silver short swords? Maybe it's the style. Maybe it's the human thing to do.
Does this make my butt look fat?
So
Thorn,
140 gold pieces, and you can get yourself a silver longsword.
I have that in platinum. Thorn will hand over 14 platinum, 140.
Such a fortuitous day. Ah. You shine upon me, as he looks down, as he looks up to the sky, and have blessed me and my family. It's sort of like crying happy tears. Like, this is more money than you can assume he makes in like 3 months.
Had to get on the road at this precise day.
Yes, this trip is blessed. I look forward to the profits we make up north. And with that, they kind of start breaking down like all the tables and the tents, and they start wrapping everything up. You guys sort of take your new belongings and kind of look everything over. Everything is fantastic. And they start to ride away. You guys begin to make your way south. After a while, you come across a large sort of branch in the road. And there's sort of a wider kind of Y that breaks off heading west. You see that directly in the middle of the two paths where they sort of connect is a sign. There's two directly pointing west, one that points to the north and one that points to the south. You get closer, you see the one that points to the north. There's actually two. One says Worms Crossing, Baldur's Gate. You look to the one to the south, and it says Callum Shan. And you see the two that point to the west. The one on top says The Way of the Lion, and the other says Candlekeep. Following as Fallister kind of turns his horse, sort of just jauntily riding, kind of whistling to himself. You guys begin to trudge and push towards the west. And you begin to see a glorious sight come dusk. You watch as the last bit of sunlight filtering out from the sky as it's sinking into the ground is meshing with a sort of cavalcade of different colored illuminating lights on all these tall sort of spires. One of them at the very top, this sort of large promontory rock, sits a gray-walled fortress. Looking across everything else, this is what you guys see. The beautiful city of Candlekeep. The closer you get, you see flying in from the north and south a mishmash of different creatures. You hear the screeching calls of griffins, the sort of bellowing roars of wyverns, different sort of smaller dragonish kind of creatures bearing aloft different people towards this strangely beautiful amalgamation of buildings piled atop this large cliffside rock. You get closer towards the gatehouse. You see there's a small line of people kind of waiting, and you notice that there are 3 figures dressed in these robes of green and white, sort of greeting everybody as they come in, and you see certain things like exchanged. And you watch like Fallister kind of rides backwards, and he's like, they are exchanging the books for entry into the city. I believe it was you, Keelan. I believe you said you had some books that might be used for trade.
I will pull out one of the books and hand it to him.
Magnificent. You kind of move forward, wait your turn, and after a while you are greeted by the 3 monks in their robes. You see that there's a human, a mountain dwarf, and a sun elf. And around their necks is the holy symbol of those of you trained in religion you recognize as Denir, the god of writing. And you see that it is a lit candle above an open eye. And the elf sort of, welcome to Candlekeep. A gift is required for those seeking admittance, but you already know that, don't you, Master Fisk? A donation of a book or scroll that is not in our library's archives. Will you please present your gift for inspection? He says, Brother Dellen, and he kind of holds the book to him. I give to you the Apocalyptico, and he kind of takes it. Dark writing, but not without its merits. And he sort of turns to the dwarf. I don't believe we have this. I don't believe this book is in the library. It's kind of a rare one, I think. It's fantastic. Yeah. With this gift, you are allowed entrance into the city of Candlekeep. Please obey our laws. Try not to cause any sort of trouble. And have yourself a nice rest of your evening. And they sort of wave you guys through. You enter. Even though it's dusk, the streets are crowded with people moving around. What you notice here, very different sort of crowd compared to Baldur's Gate. You're seeing a lot of religious acolytes. You're seeing a lot of arcane acolytes, and a lot of monks, sort of mishmashed with a bunch of people that are just regular, everyday, like dudes and dudettes, kind of moving around through. But there is more so a kind of medieval university vibe to this place than anything else. As you sort of look up through the skies, and you just kind of see more like griffins and wyverns and other animals like Pegasi kind of coming and going all through the night. Fallister kind of smiles, and he's like, it's always nice to return. So what say you? Did you guys want to get straight to business, or perhaps we can stop by the old hearth for maybe some grub and a pint?
I would prefer business. We've come a long way, and now we are here.
I think we should actually take a rest. We've been traveling for so long. I honestly feel like we deserve a little bit of fun.
Well, I mean, hey, if you're offering food and something to drink, why not?
I know a very good place. And with any luck, an old companion of mine will be there. Strong drink, hot food. Couldn't ask for more. And to be completely honest with you, Lady Sally, I do apologize, but my bottom cannot stand another minute in this saddle.
Yes, I think my saddle sores have saddle sores.
I'm
Follow me! And he starts to sort of move forward, and you guys begin to follow him. The crowd kind of parts around the wagon. And he takes you to a sort of, I guess you would kind of call it sort of dumpy. It looks like an old building. It has that sort of Watt and Dobble feel to it. That kind of like German architecture where you have like the wood crossings on the front, and you can see like the Dobble sort of like, what's the, like stucco. But the building itself looks like it's just tired. Like everything's like sagging. Like the roof looks like it's sighing a little bit, and it's kind of leaning out over the edges. And he just has the biggest smile on his face as he's coming here. And you walk in, and the pub has a very low ceiling, supported by these sort of massive wooden cross beams. And the windows, not large, like very narrow and shuttered. There's a large fire pit, like a communal sort of Viking longhouse kind of fire pit in the middle. And you just see that it's just surrounded by tables and matching benches. And he's like, by the fire against the wall. And he kind of looks back at everybody.
Where do you think we may
Against
have
the
the
wall.
most merriment?
Against the wall it is. And he starts looking around, and he's like, I have found the perfect spot. And he kind of points over to the back. And you see next to a very long table unoccupied by anybody is a very large ogre sitting at a table meant for two, but it looks like he's sitting at a school desk as he's kind of hunched over it. There's like a large like sheep shank on a plate, like an entire sheep leg that's been roasted, and a mug of ale that looks like it should be technically like a small pony keg. And you see that this large ogre is just nose deep inside this book. And you hear Fallister kind of laugh. I knew that bugger would be here. And he's like, let's go. Kind of moves everybody forward. He kind of puts in an order. Whatever drinks you guys want, you have. They sort of just have like a large communal pot stew that they make. Kind of dished everybody up. Sent it to the table. Fallister paid for anything. And he sort of leans back and he looks and he's like, how goes the studying, little one? And you see the ogre sort of, Fallister Fisk, as I live and breathe. How are you, friend? And you're listening to this ogre and all the stories you've heard about ogres, like, why isn't this thing drooling and making grunting noises? But he's speaking with incredible, like, vocal inflection. And he is reading a book and sort of talking to Fallister. And as you say, Little, he sort of looks at you. He's like, yes, my name is Little One.
Huh.
It is a name I took to honor someone, if you must know.
Actually, I size the ogre up and down and say, that seems fitting.
And he sort of smiles. I like
Yeah, I
to go.
chuckled back. It was a joke.
So what brings you back here? The last I heard, you were in Baldur's Gate or some rubbish like that. And he's like, well, I was sent on assignment. Came back with this lot to help finish the assignment. And I hope to stay here for a little bit before finally heading home. Good for you. I'm working on my 4th degree now. Hopefully I should be master in the archive sooner than later. And he's like, what are you reading now? Well, just a little book called The Sum of Theology. You might have heard of it. It's by Saint Vithira. She was a servant of Ogma, god of knowledge, and he's kind of looking at all of you.
Sacrilege, Thorn. Take it back.
You see that he's wearing... He is wearing, like, very large acolyte's robes, like that you've seen everybody kind of wearing, but he has this really neat sort of gemmed headband that he's wearing. And he's just sort of
Nice.
having a conversation. And he's a very genial, nice person. But you can see after a while he's really wanting to get back into his book and kind of noticing that Fallister kind of...
I've never actually had a civil conversation with one of your ilk. But at the very least, could I say that I don't... Johnny doesn't feel like I could actually... ogre, intellectually speaking. So at the very least, could I at least say that I've shared an ale with one? And I hold up my glass to toast him. If
He's like, technically speaking, I, myself, have never had a very intellectual conversation with an ogre. But I'm not your average ogre, and I would love a chance to have a drink with you all and perhaps share a couple stories. And he kind of closes his book, and as he closes his book, you can see him kind of grit his teeth, and he sets it down a little bit. Taking up his ale, as soon as he picks up his ale, he sort of smiles a little bit wider. Like, you could tell that he was forcing himself to lay the book down. Like, something that he really needed to get done, but he's like, I can have fun too. And kind of gets it going.
well, I will definitely touch his glass to mine in a toast and say to progress.
To those we have lost and honor.
Well spoken, friend.
And you guys sort of enjoy a nice hot meal and a very strange intellectual conversation with an ogre that calls himself Little One, who apparently is working on his 4th educational degree, trying to become one of the masters of the archive.
Yeah, Wax is taking mental notes of all this. Is like, this would make a great story.
After a while, I wonder, do I have a Candlekeep map? I don't think I do. No, they didn't give me one. I'll make one later. After a while, Little One sort of excuses himself a bit. Sort of very strong. A couple pony kegs in. His pats on the back aren't as soft as you were hoping, sort of sending you kind of sprawling over the table a little bit as he's kind of laughing as he picks up his book. And he's like, good luck to the rest of your endeavor, friend Fallister, new friends of the table. It was nice to make your acquaintance. And he kind of starts making his long, bumbling steps. And you see that when he stands up, Johnny, you're like, Jesus Christ, this guy's big.
Yeah. Maybe Little One was a little premature.
Well, it's not a name that he chose himself, Fallister kind of speaks up. It's not a story that he usually likes to share, but I consider myself a good friend and don't mind sharing it myself. He ran into, at the time, a halfling, an adventurer, whom he swiftly killed and devoured. Seeing that this halfling was wearing a nice, shiny headband, he put it on, and it grew to fit his head. According to the mages that brought him in, he did eat a small halfling named Milo Jr.
No! Bullshit!
Excellent.
And they said that that halfling himself had the headband, which they were able to identify as a headband of intellect. As he put it on and the days grew, he himself learned empathy. He grew a conscience, and he took the name Little One in honor of the halfling that he unknowingly killed.
Sally cast Fireball on 9th level at the ogre.
Uh-huh.
You watch as the ogre just comes over and just starts gorilla beating the fuck out of Sally. Just pounding on her chest like Hulk, and then he leaves again. No, but it's a sad story, but in himself, I must say that little one is probably one of a kind. You should count yourselves lucky to have met someone like that.
I am definitely going to be making a book about him at some point. Or at least involve him in something.
Everybody loves him. Such a good personality. Definitely one of the more popular acolytes here. I'll say that much. What?
I hardly met the man, and already I love him.
Well, what do you say? Should we... And he kind of like frowns a little bit as he's just kind of wants to stay and drink a little bit. Should we make our way to the upper keep? We could get some rooms, perhaps stay the night here, set off in the morning.
Well,
Drink.
I don't know. I really would think if you claim as that shield to be as dangerous as you say it is, we should get this done as soon as possible.
And he sort of frowns as he looks at his drink. All right.
In this, I am in agreement. I have personally felt the rage behind that shield, and the sooner we can deal with it, the better.
Well, let them not say that Fallister Fisk is not a man of his word. Let us be off. And he sort of waves back. Robar! A pleasure once again. Oh, pleasure to see you too, Fallister. Thanks for the business. And you guys begin to file out of the hearth. Back towards the wagon and the stabled up horses. Getting everything going, you guys begin your long trundle up the steep, winding sort of switchback roads that take you up towards the different layers of Candlekeep until at last you reach the very large blue glowing tower that is the upper keep at the highest point. And you're looking around, and on this sort of somewhat cloudy night, there's like open patches that shine through, and the moon just illuminates everything underneath you. And you swear, with the dim moonlight as it shines out, you can see forever. Arriving at the keep.
It's a very impressive view.
Fallister walks up to a small door, kind of knocks on it. After a bit, a small monk kind of makes his way in. Ah, Lord Fallister. And friends, we are here to see the Lady Savakis. I do believe she has been waiting on you. Please come in. Would you like me to take care of the horses and the wagons? That would do us just fine. Do you all agree?
Yes, please.
Wonderful. 10 gold donation. Not to keep donation. I know you don't like things that aren't donations, and he's kind of like fumbling with his pouch a little bit.
I will grab my pack and everything.
Yeah, I assume you guys are taking your stuff. And he brings out a couple more monks, and they start sort of leading the horses towards a stable that's on the far off side of like the stone flat cliff side. And you guys are led into the man door. And you go through and you just see these large sort of crossed arched hallways. Everything is quiet. There's a nice warm temperature here that just completely blocks out the sort of night chill that's coming off of the ocean. There almost seems to be like I forgot to change things. So you guys are in Candlekeep now. The more you walk through the hallways, as you're being led by another one of the monks, you pass alcoves of people sitting at desks writing. Some are studying, and you're seeing that at all times this place does not stop learning. After you reach a certain area, the monk kind of bows and he sort of goes this way, and Fallister kind of gives him a small, like, 2-finger salute from his forehead. And he sort of turns, and there's another monk that stops by, sort of offers his help if you guys need assistance moving around. Fallister's like, I got it. And after a couple more people, like, oh, do you require assistance? Oh, no, we're good. You were good. And you guys finally make it up a winding tower staircase to what you assume from the top. And there is a large oak iron banded door. Fallister knocks before just opening the door sort of politely. And you enter very sort of stuffy room to most of you. The walls of this sort of circular tower chamber, they're kind of punctuated by these arched windows that are tall. Everything is sort of shuttered at the moment to sort of keep out the chill. Bookcases line the entire thing, about 3 bookcases high, and you see these tall ladders that go on rails that move back and forth. And you can imagine that these are just full of eldritch and arcane knowledge, history, religion, like almost anything you can possibly think of, you might be able to find in this room. There are tables crowded with jars holding animal specimens, organs, plant specimens, some sort of like glowing rocks that blink on and off different colors. There's a sort of strange incense smell that mixes with a very strong lavender smell that mixes with something that you can only imagine is like rubbing alcohol. At points it smells good, and at other times it's overwhelming your senses and burning your nostrils. And sitting by one of the windows, kind of moving her finger about as a spoon twirls around in her cup, is a middle-aged tiefling dressed in these beautiful sort of wizard-like robes. And she's thinking quite hard as she's kind of staring at the shuttered window, as if like really contemplating something. Perched at the corner of the table that she's next to, you see this kind of small green, like warty kind of creature with these large yellow bug eyes kind of looking towards you and kind of moving around and dancing. The tail like sort of very whip-like loose and kind of falls. And it's got these small sort of thin black horns. And after a while, she sort of like shakes her head and blinks her eyes, and she looks over and, Fallister, I can't believe you don't know how pleased I am to see you. What have you brought me? And she kind of comes closer and she's rubbing her hands. First, I will say that I was not able to complete this task without these people here you see with me. It was really, truly to them that we were able to get our hands on this. They even brought a stop to what I told you was the Van Thempa plot to take over the city. And we also have Thavius Creek, holed up in the Flaming Fist headquarters. It's very good. And he kind of looks to all of you. I've been suspicious of the High Overseer of Elturel for a long time. But no one wanted to hear my concerns because Thavius Creek was widely regarded as the hero who saved Elturel from the undead scourge. And that gave rise to the holy nation of Elturgard. Hailed as a savior, and she kind of says it like mock sarcastic. Thavius made all the citizens swear an oath called, and Rhea speaks up, the Creed Resolute. And she sort of looks and notices Rhea for the first time. That's right, child. You would know all about that. I would. And as you know, the Creed Resolute binds them to defend the nation of Eltergard. An oath. A locking oath. I met him years ago. He made my skin crawl. My instincts just told me he was a fake. We'll say if you guys wanted to take Slobber Chops on the journey, he's alive and well if you want. He's just a non-combat pet that you guys can have for fun.
He just shows up again one day, and we're like, where's he been?
Afterward, I grew to suspect that he had cut some sort of deal with some dark entity. Maybe one or more powerful devils. It was just something in the way he talked about how he spoke of power. There are certain words that you can pull to trigger in to kind of know someone's intent. Someone of the cloth should not be that intense when speaking of holding people to oaths. And I believe that he used the Creed Resolute to bind all the souls of Elturel for his dark deal. And I wish to prove my theory. Long ago, Fallister here was able to pinpoint this puzzle box, something that Thavia's Creed did not let out of his sight. We believe that the evidence is locked inside. She's like, oh, forgive me. I got so excited I forgot to introduce myself. Silvirus Savicus, Archmage of the Blue Tower here in Candlekeep. And you are? And she begins to look at all of you, and she's Rhea Mantelmorn, Hell Rider of Elturel. I'm sorry for your loss, child. And she just kind of nods.
I'm Ravenclaw, follower of the Raven Queen.
Ah, a very odd name for a very odd goddess. And you? She looks at you, Chris. With your strange sort of mask and your riding clothes.
Sally.
Just Sally? No surname?
No, just Sally.
Interesting. And I'll assume that one by one you guys just kind of introduce yourselves.
T-Lim doesn't introduce himself. He's too busy researching.
What are you researching? Oh, you're just going through the books without even asking.
Yeah. T-Lim is a researcher. He's been doing his own research.
As you sort of make your way towards the books and try to put your hands on them, you reach what seems to be like a wall of force that kind of sends your hand shooting back. You're not actually able to take the books from the shelves. She does notice this, and she looks over. It is polite to ask beforehand before perusing someone's personal library.
He's just like, he just like takes a deep breath and he's like, my apologies.
She kind of nods, and then she begins sort of speaking to everybody again as they're introducing it. And as usually, like, did she do it? And then you reach out again and try to grab a book, and you just can't fucking grab a book, and it's pissing you off.
Yeah, my library is like 6 books.
and one that was carved out with a bunch of keys in it.
I would just lower my head. Walks, milady.
Now, the puzzle box. May I see it? And Fallister reaches in to his bag and he pulls it out. And there again, you guys see the familiar shape of the cube-like box. And she's like, these are my personal favorites. You never know how one must open them. Some require sliding puzzles. Other require spells in certain cadences to be cast one by one in to be able to unlock the secrets within. I make my own for commissions. They are quite fun. Some people like crossword puzzles. I enjoy puzzle boxes. And she begins to sort of take it, and you watch as she begins to look at it. Carefully in her hands, turning it over and over and over again. After about 5 minutes, you see her eyes light up. There you are, she says. Jezebel, my love, can you grab me the flask? And you watch as the little sort of familiar she has with the bug eyes kind of starts going off and then like runs over, jumps up and begins climbing and grabs this sort of pewter flask. Comes running, drops it back off. And jumps, hands it to her. And then you watch as she unstoppers the flask and she begins to pour in this very dark, ruby sort of liquid, very thick, into one of the squares. She sets it down, sets the flask down, and then she begins to cast magic. The magic begins to envelop around the box, and you watch as she's manipulating the box now with her fingers. And those of you kind of gather around a little bit, and you watch as she's moving the liquid through these maze-like spaces, forming a pattern. This is a good one. And she kind of moves forward, and she keeps manipulating it over and over again until the top of the box clicks. And then, as if there's no gravity, the lid begins to float off. Here you can see a picture of Sylvira and Jezebel, her familiar. Out from the box, as the lid floats up, comes what looks to be a sort of like billet of metal that's very thin. And as soon as it floats up out of the box, it begins to open up like interconnected plates. And you see that there are a total of 13 plates connected together by rings. And using her right hand, she slowly lowers the box with the lid. And with her left hand, she begins to bring forward the interlocking plates. And then she begins to read. And you hear sort of, Nahatasi Dea Ustanandi Elturel. But those of you that understand Infernal know that she's saying, be it known to all that I, Thavius Krieg, High Overseer of Elturel, have sworn to my master Zariel, Lord of Avernus, to keep the agreements contained in this oath. I hereby submit to Zariel in all matters for all time. I will place her above all creatures, living and dead. I will obey her all my days and beyond, with fear and servility. I recognize the dispensation of the device called the Solar Insidiator, hereafter dubbed by me the Companion. And then you hear Rhea sort of take a sharp intake of breath as she kind of covers her mouth in shock. In my capacity as High Overseer of Elturel, and its vassal territories, I acknowledge that all lands falling under the light of the Companion are forfeit to Zariel. All persons bound by oath to defend El Terrell are also considered forfeit. I further recognize that this dispensation will last 50 years, after which the Companion will return whence it came, taking El Terrell and its oath-bound defenders with it. If that is Zariel's wish, all this is my everlasting pledge. And you watch as she sort of puts her hands on the table and it begins to sort of slowly fall and float to the table. And she kind of puts her head down and she's just shaking it. You can almost see her sort of deflate. And Rhea just, no. She kind of collapses on the ground, like her legs giving out. And Phalister's, he sacrificed the whole city.
What's worse, the so-called savior angel is the one responsible. I saw a shrine of this thing back when we found Thavius.
Well, long before she was the Duke of Avernus, the angel Zariel was a powerful force of light. It is true that when El Terrell was young and besieged by demons, she alone answered the call. She fought back the demon hordes. She taught the humans how to fight them. And then she led her glorious charge into Avernus, where eventually she fell. We don't know the manner of how she fell. We just know that at one point she was the light of the world. And now she is a demon, a devil, a terrible force, one that wages war constantly. Her angelic form is true. She was once such as this, but now she is far more broken and wrong. Ray is just sobbing on the floor. This is far worse than anything I expected.
This is
Rhea starts
indeed more than
pounding her
what I
fist.
expected as well.
Rhea just starts pounding her fist against the floor, the sort of tears of sort of sadness, loss, and betrayal turning into anger as she kind of pushes herself up strongly. Can they be saved? The people? The city? Can we reverse it if we break this contract? Can we save them? There is a chance of that, child, but it is a task worthy of the gods. I will go. I will save them. Rhea kind of stands. If Zariel wants my soul, she's welcome to try to take it. Let's not rush into anything. There are things that we can look into, as she looks into all of it. And just know, by all means, you have to be willing to go. For if hell has swallowed El Terrell, only in hell can it be saved.
I will take that journey.
She looks at you very hard eyes, very calculating eyes. You say this a lot quicker than your companions. There aren't many who wish to make the journey to the Nine Hells. It is not some place a sane person would wish to travel.
Keelim is pretty surprised that Sally was willing to go to hell to save people.
Sane or not, I will not let one I count as sister to go alone. I will go with Sally. These people did not deserve the fate that befell them. Just like my little sisters didn't deserve the fate that had befallen them. If I could have saved them, I would have. Maybe this is the gods giving me a chance to do the same. Again.
I once did want to be a Hell Rider. Perhaps this is my chance.
Rhea is sort of looking at all of you and kind of beaming brightly as you guys are sort of standing by her and being like, yeah, we'll go.
It certainly beats working for, what's his name, the guy in Baldur's Gate?
Zodge.
Zodge. Yeah, it certainly beats working for Zodge, doesn't it? And I look over at Siren and Beta and Wox.
Indeed, or at least it is more of a noble cause. For you are right, Johnny. Those innocent people did not deserve such a fate.
It might not pay as well.
I don't think it's necessarily about that anymore. Feeding souls to hell can bring no good to anyone.
No, it can't. A balance must be kept.
Exactly.
I certainly wouldn't want this fate to befall any of the other civilized places of the West.
Speaking of civilized places, Fallister sent me word that the shield of the Hidden Lord was discovered, and she looks to you, Thorn. Would you allow me to see the shield, for I have a deep belief that it should not be in the hands of mortals.
I will pass over the shield and give her a warning.
She kind of, as you pass it over, she puts her hand up again, and you watch as that red magic sort of comes over and grabs onto it. You can see that she does not want to touch this thing with her own skin. And as the shield is leaving your hands, you hear the voice in your head. Thorn, no. Do not let it take me. You and I are in this together. And then as your fingers leave, you lose contact with it a little bit. And it's floating, and then you hear the voice again. Was I not a good companion? Did I not treat you well? You told me to destroy your enemies, and I have done so. Think of all the enemies we could destroy together. And she kind of sets it onto the table. This shield is a symbol of good's triumph over evil. Gazing at such beauty, one can easily overlook the terrible force that's been found within it. It is long since known in studied secret circles that Gargoth is, I believe, its name, though it calls itself the Hidden Lord, is trapped within this sword. A pit fiend sent by Asmodeus himself to corrupt mortals. on this material plane. And there it amassed such a following as to rival that of the gods. The Knights of the Shield is what it gave birth to. In that way, Gargoth, the pit fiend within this, became a sort of demigod, and, having worshippers, increased its power exponentially. But my, have the mighty have fallen, and she kind of sneers at the shield a little bit. This shield has the power to corrupt everything around it, and she's looking at all of you. It feeds on innocence. It takes advantage of the naive. It hungers for death. And it craves the power of being held and expending that which should. I believe that the Hoon family of Baldur's Gate has kept it for years. And it was only until Fallister heard rumors that the shield was in the Van Thampa villa that we knew that it was true. Doubtless, they'll want it back. Fallister's like, yeah, they do. They, sort of try to waylay us on the road, but we the better of them. They sent that bloody Cambion of theirs, but thankfully, my companions were up for the task. She's like, well, thank you for protecting my friend.
The devil escaped, however.
But not
No
without without making him whiz his pants, though.
Licking his wounds, but he may have returned to his master to speak of what happened.
Be wary of devils that hold a grudge. The next time you encounter them could be far worse than the first.
If the shield corrupts mortals, as you say, shouldn't we banish it back to hell? What?
I would not wish to send this back to the place it wishes to go. I would lock it away in an extra-dimensional space, far from corruptible souls. Did you use it? Its power?
Oh, Thorn.
I looked to Thorn, and I'm going to let Thorn answer that.
It provided it proved useful in the battle against the. It proved useful in battle, yes.
It does that. It makes you want to use it. Then before you know it, the rage sets in. Your mind does not become your own. He fills it with his own power and desire. Then you want to dominate everything in your path. Those that once your friends are those that need to be crushed beneath your feet. You become a hollow thing.
Considering his uniqueness, could this sword still affect him the same way?
Say that again.
Considering Thorn's uniqueness as a warforged, could he still be affected as, say, an elf, a human, a dwarf?
He is not sentient, is he not? Thinks for himself, has a conscience. He shows much greater ability than any regular construct. Your companion here is far beyond anything that should be built by magical hands. Yes. I fear that Thorn might even be more susceptible.
Mark, can I tell her she's telling the truth that she wants to lock away this shield and not use it for her own gain?
Yeah, give me an insight. Thorn, the voice kind of whispers back into your mind. If you go to El Terrell, you will need me. Take me to the 9 hells, and I'll swear to serve you faithfully as guide and advisor. Trust me, Thorn. With your 15 insight, you can see that she's looking at this shield with utter disgust. She does not want it. She does not want to be in its presence. And you do believe that she does indeed want this thing locked away from where nobody can touch it.
Now, if you say it's true that a servant of Asmodeus resides in that shield, then yes, I believe it is wise to lock it away in another plane where it can't see the light of day and serve its master.
Thorn, what do you say anything back? What do you do with those words?
You did prove useful in the battle, but I've only known you for a day or so, How do I know I can trust you?
You've known me for 5. And together we overpowered those that wished to hurt your friends. Imagine what we could do together.
Thorn, you known me longer, and I do believe she has the best intentions for that shield.
The choice is not mine alone to make. I'll make you this offer that I will, within my power, send this to some pocket plane out of the reach of others. But, should you wish to take it on your own free will, it is yours to take.
I don't wish to take it.
The voice just, Thorn, take me with you. I swear to serve you faithfully.
Yeah, I don't want to have to deal with a pit fiend. You seem much more.
Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah.
deal with devils possibly popping out and having intel because of that thing.
Connie, a voice pops into your head. I can protect you. I know things you do not know about the 9 hells. Beta in your head. Do you know your way around the rings? Do you know what Avernus is like? Take me with you. I can help you.
Sally will walk up to the shield and tap it again. Enjoy the void for all eternity, Golgoroth.
And it just growls in your head. This very deep, resonating growl. You swear your bones are vibrating as it's.
Thorn will reach to take the shield. I think it can prove useful once it has been once I learn to control it.
I feel like if we're agreeing to go to hell, I think that you won't be able to control the shield and its element. If he says it's possessed by some devil, and you take a devil to hell, aren't they more powerful there?
I'm sure if we need a god, we can find one there. Another.
You speak
I do
of
think
taking...
Thorn's powers are significant, but Thorn, even you, I think, would be hard-pressed to control a devil in his home element.
You speak of taking devils to hell. He points to Sally. She emanates demonic presence. And he points to Ravenclaw. He controls demons. What about them?
If you're referring to my Raven, he is bound by the Raven Queen. his
And I
power
think that I
came
can take
from free.
Sally.
No, I think he's referring to, the blood.
I'm referring to Sally's aura that I detect, or think I detect, and then Ravenclaw's Raven gives off the same imp auras that the devils did. How is that different from this shield?
The difference is the hierarchy of the power. The thing
Did
that
you-
I control is just a small thing versus a greater devil-like general who could possibly be a demigod. There's a difference of 1 to 1,000,000.
Strength and power. The higher rank you are, the stronger you are, and the harder it is to control.
I just believe that
Makes
the
sense.
entity that's within the shield is more powerful than Sally or Ravenclaw put together.
I promise.
That could very much be.
Thorn, did you sense aura radiating from me or near me? Because when you claimed that, we were at the Van Damford bathhouse.
Silvira has taken a very keen interest in you, Sally, as Thorns kind of speaks his words. And she's looking at you very intently.
Yeah, I think this is the first time I've heard that Sally emanates a demonic aura.
Well, yeah.
I always wonder what the show was down my that one time. Then again, you are kind of creepy looking, but
Box. Really?
What? I'm not the only one that felt that. You know that?
Have you seen what you look like in your normal state? Come on now. How's that any less scary than Sally?
Look, just because I look like that doesn't mean I am creepy. I can look like anything.
Scary is not my
It's true.
concern.
You don't
Whether or not Sally or Walks or Ravenclaw are scary is not my concern. It's the fact that whatever entity is inside that shield would be more powerful in hell, I believe. I don't think that Sally or Ravenclaw will be more powerful where it is we are going.
Also, the thing in that shield is evil. These two are people. They are not evil.
What assurances could you give us, Thorn, that if the shield becomes something you can't control, what would you then do if we were in hell with the shield?
I pledge to you, Thorn. They'll never understand the bond of warriors. Together, I will guide you, protect you. Give me an insight check, Thorn. Okay, so with your passive 14, in your gut, there is a feeling that the offer is genuine. There's also a desperation that kind of tinges this thing's words. It does not want to be left here. And you could also see that when you took the sword and looked at Silvira, there was a moment that she almost sighed in relief that you're taking it. Say that again, Chris?
It's a shield, not a sword.
Did I say sword? I apologize.
Doug said sword earlier as well, so you're not the only one.
I apologize. Give me one quick second. And while we take a second, you guys can listen to our new break music.
Yeah, I gotta pee real quick.
I'm not very good at this. I'm not very good at this role play, but Thorn's flaws, he's flexible in his thinking, and really he just kind of sees it as a tool, just another tool. Like, it's just a special shield.
But you have to see what it can do, though.
I think the best part of the whole thing is that the shield made its way into the hands of the youngest and possibly most innocent-minded person in the party, which was like almost brilliant. I love it. Give me a quick second, Rena.
Thorn is basically an animated. He's a sentient weapon, basically. So he's like, well, isn't this kind of like me? Except it can't walk around on its own. I carry clay with me.
Wait, was it Clay or Thorn that did the check and thought I radiated?
I think it was Clay who mistook the ink for you.
So then the whole roleplay with pointing at me is moot.
No, he did it before. Thorn did it in like the. Oh, never mind. I thought he did it in like the treasure room and detected you as well. But...
He did indeed do it in the treasure.
Yeah, but if he did he? So then did he detect me, or the
when he
shield?
was detecting everything, he was intently looking at. He was intently looking at Thavius Krieg because of the shadow, and also the shield with the strange demonic face. When he cast it, he did not pick up any sort of signature at that time from the shield or Thavius Krieg. And he wasn't able to explain why, especially with Thavius Krieg's strange shadow. But he was able to pick up a hint off of Nevermore, and could actually see the bird as it was invisible, and a little bit from you.
Okay, I just wanted to clear because I remember Clay doing it at the bathhouse and calling that out, but I didn't remember about that. So, okay. Then we're good.
All right. Do we have everybody back?
Yes.
Yes.
I had to look something up. Back to the serious music.
What music was that from?
It's called Adventure Meme by Kevin MacLeod. I was like, it sounds like an 8-bit video game. So I'm like, perfect. This will be good break music.
That is awesome.
Ravenclaw. You begin to focus. Sally, what are you thinking about right now?
I'm thinking that we should take that. She promised to put away the shield, and I don't want to take that shield with me. But I'm also kind of staring back at her because she's staring intently back at me. So I'm just. What would we go? She's just waiting. She's kind of waiting, like, yeah, call it out. See what happens. I have the ultimate poker face.
Sally, go ahead and give me a wisdom saving throw.
A wisdom saving throw?
Yes.
Not charisma or constitution?
Wisdom. Specifically calls out wisdom.
Fuck me!
Ravenclaw, any questions you want to ask Sally?
Oh, that's bullshit. That's bullshit, Doug.
Nice.
That's fucking bullshit.
Nice.
Sally,
As currently Ravenclaw is trying to detect your thoughts.
Sally, what are you underneath all of that?
Are you saying that out loud or in my head?
Out loud, I think.
Yes.
Let's see. When he cast the spell, he was initially picking up your surface thoughts. Then he decided to probe deeper into your mind, which is what caused the wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
It says here that questions verbally directed at the target creature naturally shape the course of its thoughts. So this spell in particular is particularly effective as part of interrogation. You can use this spell to detect the presence of thinking creatures you can't see. Blah, 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 blah. So he's asking you a question, and you kind of feel like you want to answer it. That's how I'm reading it, unless anybody more experienced with this spell can tell me. This is the first time.
Okay.
I think she could lie still, but just leading her to think about it opens it up because then I can see it in her head.
I'm
Essentially.
sorry, Mark. You cut my Discord has been cut and
It's
chopped.
okay. Let me read this. If it fails, you gain insight into its reasoning, if any, the emotional state, and something that is looming large in its mind, such as something it worries over, loves, or hates. If it succeeds, the spell ends. Either way, the target knows that you are probing into its mind, and unless you shift your attention to another creature's thoughts, the creature can use its action on its turn to make an intelligence check contested by your intelligence check. If it succeeds, the spell ends. So, I will say, Doug, she failed. You can gain insight into her reasoning if you want, or if you choose, her current emotional state, as well as maybe something that is looming in her mind. I will leave it up to you what you ask, and you're asking kind of what are you? So technically it's not zone of truth, so she's not really compelled to say the truth. But if you don't want to ask the question, you can kind of gain insight through that, I think. But you can also ask that, and she kind of wants to answer it. But I don't know if that happens before or after the intelligence check. This is a tough one. I've never used this spell.
I think the way I'm reading it as a DM and everything, I think he will gain one of those, and then I will because I failed, so he will get one of those three. And then, if I so choose, which I'm going to contest him intellectually to push him out after he chooses one.
That sounds
And that's
good. Let's go with that. So, Doug, out of those choices from probing deeper, what would you like to gain insight on? This is great, by the way. This is a great fucking idea, Doug. Thank
The
you.
details of the choices.
Too soon!
Okay, so which one?
Something she worries over.
So, looking into her mind, you begin to probe deeper. Sally, what is the one thing you're worrying about that is looming large in your mind?
That the group will find out my true identity and what I am.
There's a moment where you see and feel this nervous tension and anxiety in her mind as everything is flowing at a very fast, calculating pace. And you start to pick up on that fact, Ravenclaw, that she's not what she seems. And she's worried she might be found out. Do you wish to try to keep going?
Would I now get my intelligence check, right, to push him out?
If If he doesn't choose another person right away and decides to stick with you and try to probe deeper to find more information, then yes, we will have an intelligence check content.
So don't take forever.
No, I won't take forever. I'll probe deeper.
Okay, give me intelligence checks. Let's see where this goes.
So this is just straight intelligence, right?
Just straight intelligence.
And guess what? The inspiration I had looming that I forgot to... Oh wait, did we lose after the fight?
No, that's the Group B rules.
And okay,
That's my homebrew rule. This one you have inspiration until you use it. You can't gain another one until you use it.
and did we gain inspiration after the fight because we were in the middle of combat? And last I saw, it was Sally and Cyrune was chosen.
No, I believe that's right. According to the chat log, let me see. We didn't have a lot, but the last thing I saw was from Keelim saying, I vote Walks and Sally for the roleplay. And because Doug had to log off, we weren't able to dole that out. Do you guys agree with Keelim's nominations for inspiration that happened last time because of Walks and Sally's incredible roleplay? Oh my god, we're going to have an inspiration intelligence check off. This is going to be awesome.
Oh god.
And
Okay.
don't vote based on what's going on now. It has to be a last session.
Oh, I'm so stoked. Come on, let's do this.
Let's see this play out. Come on.
This is one of the best developments ever.
So
Both of you can spend your inspiration points and roll.
I don't know. Doug, you go. You're probing.
We're going to say that's... Oh, no.
Oh, fail, Sally.
I
Please
have
fail.
a +2 to intelligence.
Oh,
Damn it!
Sally, there's almost like a prickling feeling that you can feel on your, like the inside of your skin. It's kind of like that feeling where you take like the first drink of alcohol on a hot day and you feel it like crawling up your scalp. And you immediately like snarl in your mind and force out a probing sort of thought. Ravenclaw, you feel yourself rebuked and thrown out.
I know it's Ravenclaw. I believe I do.
Either way, the target knows that you are probing in its mind, and unless you shift. So I don't know if that means that you know exactly who's probing your mind, or if you know that someone is probing your mind. That's a weird one. What do you think, Ken? It says either way, the target knows that you are probing into its mind. Does that mean that she knows it's Ravenclaw, or just that someone is probing?
I'll say this, Doug, can you link the spell? If the spell has verbal, somatic, or material components, Sally can clearly see who is casting the spell.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, it's still an action to cast a spell. If it has verbal components, you're saying magic while looking
now,
at Sally.
if it's a racial spell that you get for his type of tiefling, do you still require that, or is that something?
Well, the racial spells say that they are cast without material components. It specifically calls that out. But if they have verbal components, you still have to speak the words of magic. So I would link the spell. And if it has a verbal component, unless you're using some spell, then you're
verbal somatic material.
So basically, Ravenclaw was able to cast it with a wave of his magic word. He just didn't need a material component. So I would say Sally knows that Ravenclaw used a spell.
I will play as that. Yeah, we probably saw Ravenclaw cast a spell, but I was not. Yeah, I wouldn't have counterspelled it because I wouldn't know he would be targeting me until.
Right.
And then, But now I am furiously staring at him with a ball of fire in my hands.
That said, you know that there's already been discussion in the group. I mean, somebody, I think it was Key Lim, said that having you go, or Thorn said having you or Ravenclaw go to hell might be just as bad as taking killed. So there's already suspicion in the group that you're worthy of suspicion. So maybe Ravenclaw was just trying to get to the point.
That's actually
Sally,
exactly
as you begin to put fire in your hand, you hear a snap and the fire goes out.
Yeah, and I
around
would probably put my hands on both Ravenclaw and Sally's shoulders, and squeeze. Like, hey, brother and sister, none of that.
Stay out of my head where you don't belong, or I will send you to your precious Raven Queen faster than you think.
Is that through way of hell?
By whatever means. And this is not a threat, it's a promise.
Now. These threats are not necessary. Or if I squeeze but a little bit harder, I would send you both to your graves in an instant. Let's stop this.
Let's not kill each other before you decide to go to the Nine Hells to save the Seltzerel.
Right, we don't need to deliver more souls to hell in advance of our coming.
Precisely, I believe. We call that counterproductive.
I have an agreement.
The shield is being taken, and you handle whatever squabbles you have amongst yourselves. I would ask you to follow me around the large central table as she begins to move. Now, it's not exactly an updated map, but I want you to have a look at where you're going. And you see that she pulls out a very large, sort of thick, leathery map. And she begins to roll it out and set like these large, thick lead weights on the corner so it stays still.
I have this map.
What you are looking at is the realm of Zariel, fallen of heaven. The ninth ring of hell. A place of constant battle, distress, and dread. This is the realm of Avernus.
Is it the ninth or the first ring, Mark?
No, it's the ninth. This is the outermost ring. The first ring is where Asmodeus.
Okay.
Nine hells.
For some reason, I don't know why. When you research, because it's weird that they put this as the ninth instead of the first, but never mind.
Well, it absolutely looks like a lovely place for the summer. Sort of.
Wow.
And you said this is updated.
Who is giving us this map?
The lady.
She just unraveled it.
She owns this sort of weird leathery map. You're not quite sure if it is just thick leather or if it's actually made of skin. As you're sort of looking at it, she kind of tells you, be warned, this map might not be entirely reliable, as, its creator, the person who had it before, sort of went mad while making it.
Can I send thoughts to the shield and ask how accurate this map is? If it wants to be useful, it can start now.
You sort of ask him, and you hear a reply. It's not bad, actually. I'd say it's almost spot on. Though I'm sure there are changes once we get down there.
Thank you for your input.
I pledge to serve.
And as long
And
as
you see and in answer to your question, sort of as you're kind of musing a little bit, Sally, she's like, Avernus is the outermost ring, or uppermost, depending on how you view it. Below that is the ring of Dis, home of the fabled city of Iron. Below is the swamps of Minoros. Below that is Phlegethos, the plague realm. Stygia lays before Malbolge. Underneath Malbolge is Maladomini. Cania, the coldest and cruelest, is the second. And the first and innermost is Nessus, throne of Asmodeus, source of the river Styx. The river Styx flows here, and she points out to water. But be wary of contact with it. Touching it could alter your thoughts, wipe your mind, and you can lose yourself entirely to it. Linger too far, it will devour you, turn you into a hollow husk. If it is your intention to go there, just know that usually I would be able to just plane shift you there. But a thought has occurred. There is a wizard. He lives in a floating tower above the ocean, about 20 miles due west of here. I've loaned him a couple spell books in the past, and let's just say he owes me. The wards within Candlekeep do not allow me to cast such spells, but Traxagor can help you. And he has a rather special friend of mine, who I think would serve you well. Her name is Lulu. If you wish to depart now, I can arrange for that to happen. You are also more than welcome to stay, read, study, prepare yourself. And she looks to Keelan, with my permission, to look over my library. The step you take is not one to be taken lightly. While there is a chance to save those that may still live, redeem their souls, and bring them back, there is the high chance that you yourself may be lost in the hells forever. Keep your friends close. She looks at Thorn into the shield. But don't keep your enemies too close. And with that, we're going to end it here tonight.
That was fun, Chris.
Yeah, no, okay, I'm not mad. That was a brilliant move. But yeah, but that was fun.
Yeah, I wish you hadn't like passed it, because we could have learned so much.
I really would have liked to have seen how that scene played out if Sally's secret would have been exposed. Though that would have been really interesting. Although Chris might be rolling up a new character for next session, if maybe it's better that the dice told the story it did.
Well, I have a +2 to intelligence, and once I saw that now, I'm like, I'm gonna pass this. But of course, the dice could have said no.
Yeah.
But that was not tonight.
Well, technically, I know you're something else, but I couldn't probe any deeper after that.
Yes, he knows that you're not what you seem to be, and that you're worried what will happen if the group finds out. So he does know that much.
He knows that, but he doesn't know what it is
Precisely.
Yeah,
though,
but it's definitely
with
enough to have.
with Thorn's sort of words earlier, that's kind of an extra arrow in Ravenclaw's quiver for a puzzle to try to figure out. But yes, your excellent mental fortitude managed to push Ravenclaw out of your mind. And I gotta say, I had a lot of fun during this session. Especially with the spur of the moment merchant caravan. So that was a whole lot of fun.
I really liked the French accent. That was pretty entertaining.
That was pretty good.
It's pretty hard. I found myself shifting in between French and German quite a bit through that. So, and then trying not to speak French or German when I picked back up as Fallister was even harder.
It just means
the challenge of the accents.
that accent shift just means that Iago likes to change for the flavoring for a sales pitch.
But of course, yes.
I also appreciated the impromptu camping storytelling scene. That was fun for me. I got to do that. So I've been waiting to have we're all sitting at camp around a campfire moment for the last few sessions now.
I needed to drop the sadness bomb in there too with Rhea.
Yeah.
It was too good of a story not to add in.
No, it was a good opening for it. So that was a good call.
Even though she did kind of kill the mood, so
I had a whole different story.
It fit.
I had a whole different story for Kanan that I was going to drop on the campfire scene as well. So I was looking forward to that with both these characters.
And honestly, after today's session, I don't even think we need to take a vote. I will give everybody a point of inspiration because that was a lot of fun.
I was going to vote for Ravenclaw and Chani for the role play, but if you're not going to do that, okay.
Well, you can't vote for me because Marco, so you have to give it to others anyway. But it was fun. It was a good session.
And just a heads up, Siren, your rapier is called Flash. It is a +1 rapier. When you critically hit with it, the blade reacts and allows you to make another attack.
Yeah, that.
Just imagine if on your luckiest day you roll like 3 crits in a row. That's 6 attacks. I'll have that all made up with the picture and everything. But everybody should be equipped now with silvered implements, so that'll be nice going down in there. Yeah, and shit gets scary, so it's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to this part now. The last couple of Baldur's Gate stuff for me was kind of a grind. I really wasn't finding the story in itself very compelling. But the stuff coming up, I feel, is heroic as fuck.
Yeah, the first part, again, like you said, it's just a grind, and then once we get over that hump, it supposedly gets a lot better.
Yeah, it
Actually,
was.
most of the comics that are set for it pick up after all the grind we just did.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. The first act in Baldur's Gate, it really felt more like a chore than actually trying to run a game. Like, it was myself to kind of get through that, but now we're through that, and with everybody's roleplay and everything, like, thanks for keeping me going. Is that it was brutal running that first Baldur's Gate area.
Well, to be fair, we didn't expect an elder lady to just fireball us to infinity.
I enjoyed that part. I'm not gonna lie.
Of course.
That was fun. I got to experience my first kind of TPK-ish thing. Hopefully it'll be the last. But it was kind of fun feeling that power.
Good.
Yeah. We'll pick up here next Tuesday. I'm excited. I'm excited to try to slay some arachnids this Friday. I'm looking forward to playing with you guys Saturday night, so this should be a pretty fun D&D week. And like I said, I had a lot of fun today. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Mark. It was fun.
Ravenclaw just went to the top of Sally's shit list.
What? He even went over walks?
Hey, now you have someone you can share your secrets with.
He went way over walks. He's third. Ravenclaw is now third on my shit list.
Yeah, but like walks made you do menial labor.
Walks is fourth.
Yeah.
Hey, it was undercover. What else could I have done?
There was other people there.
Yes, but you're the only one that made a Sally was the only one that made a snide comic to walks. He remembers that. You never give a person who could change to anyone that type of power.
Hey, Walks, there's that river we need you to go swim across.
You first.
Yeah, Sally, where are the rest of us on your list?
Okay. It goes Ravenclaw's third, and then it goes Walks, then Cyroon, Beta, Thorn, Keelam, and Chani.
Can this be like a separate handout or something?
I actually thought Keelan was going to be higher on that.
She's scared of Keelam. I mean, did you notice how all the really heavy hitting melee guys are at the bottom of her list?
Yeah.
Good golly. I'm looking, yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Chani's the only one that's been really has really the only one that's been nice to me.
All I remember is Johnny suggesting we put a bag over your head.
I did make that suggestion. This is true. But Johnny and Sally had a bonding moment after that. And I feel like Sally is just not that she's difficult to get along with because she's kind of a bitch. But if you you get past that facade, I think that she's different. But I'm also naive.
A person underneath the wall. That's nice.
Yeah, that's what Johnny's trying to do. Is trying to get past what she thinks is Sally's wall.
Known her the longest. He's just gotten to the point where he's accepted that he can't get rid of her.
Well, I don't think we decided for sure what we're doing with this shield.
It sounds like Thorn's gonna take it.
Okay.
I will
I
claim
suggest
responsibility
we
for
spend a
this.
few days researching while we think it over.
Yeah.
Sure, Keelan.
Sally was gonna suggest that we leave immediately, but we can do that next session.
We need to do our research. We should do our research. This is hell. We need to be prepared.
And Chris, because of your intelligence check, since I know you have the book, you know the section called Zariel's Fall.
Okay. I was gonna ask. I'll ask later.
No problem.
Alrighty.
All right, well, you guys have a good night.
To bed. Have a good
Night,
night.
everybody. Thank you again.
Ta-ta.